Welcome, good evening. This is America's Third Party, and this is Freedom Friday. I'm David Sponheim, your host. Hello. So, tragic day for the Hurt family. John Hurt, the legendary actor who played Elephant Man, has passed away at the age of 77. A tragic loss. Another great actor. Unfortunately, I can't necessarily play you clips of it, the Elephant Man, but there might be something here in this picture. Here he was, one of the best actors out there. He really knew how to emote. I guess I have something I can play here.
The teacher. Richard, no one's going to give you a place at court.
Oh, Master Cromwell says he'll do something for me.
Cromwell? Well, if you know Cromwell, you don't need my help.
Let's talk about what it's made of. I'm eating this. What's the matter? The food ain't that bad, baby.
You two for Charles. What?
I am not an animal. I am a human being.
You're not an elephant man at all. You're Romeo.
I think it is clear that we can expect great things from you.
I'm ready.
This country stands on the edge of oblivion. I have everyone to remember why they need us.
Wow. John Hurt, yeah, legendary actor. Wonder what happened to him. Let's see if there's anything on the story here. He had battled with both cancer and an intestinal complaint in recent years. Something intestinal got him. Hope it wasn't a tapeworm. But cancer was a big killer for him. Yeah. In fact, I should never ever drop a person from the frame without fading him away. No, I think this is one of these cases where he actually died. Nobody killed him. Yeah. Believe it or not, that happens quite a bit. Yeah. Well, saying negative things about people who are not recently dead will cause you imminent danger. You're probably going to have a mojo bounce back on your ass and you'll fall in front of a truck if you keep saying that. You think I'm kidding? Yeah, very superstitious about that. I don't speak ill of the dead. Yeah, you should be careful. Karma has a way of biting you in your ass. No, nobody killed him. He died of cancer. Yeah. I'm sure that people are very sad that he has passed away. I remembered him as one of the best actors out there who took on the tough roles. I'm taking on the tough role of just doing a show every night. I find that rather cool. Yeah. Online revolution goes on every day, except Sunday for a day of rest. Today we, in the pre-show, we did a media verification analysis. I have this concept where I want to create an MVA, a Media Verification Alliance. And we had previously seen a picture of Melania, who obviously was upset in the event, or the inaugural event, and her husband, Donald Trump, said something to her that made her upset. We thought a couple days ago that it was just reverse video, and we now find out the context of that photograph is indeed indicating that Trump said something to her that really, really upset her. I'm going to cue this video up for you. You can take a look at it yourself. Yeah, this was at the top of the news, at the top of the 5 o'clock hour. Let's talk about it now.
Your administration.
Here we go.
And it started to rain, Mr. President, when you...
Okay, I'm going to enlarge the picture of her. You can close in on the face she makes when Trump turns around and says something to her.
came to the platform. And it's my prayer that God will bless you, your family, your administration, and And it's my prayer that God will bless you, your family, your administration, and
I've seen enough. Yeah, this is bizarre. That is freakish. Don't you think there's something going on here? If you tell her to stop smiling, that's just too ridiculous. Melania, blink twice if you want us to save you. Yeah, she looked devastated, Filibustered said. Yeah. He's turning into a real a-hole, you think? You think? Yeah. You don't turn into one. Searching dueling banjos on YouTube and you'll find an epic moment. Really. Oh, I like dueling banjos. Yeah, that's from the Deliverance video, or the movie. Yeah, I remember Deliverance. She looked like a dejected child? Not really. I mean, it was worse than that. There's something heavy about this. Hey, Mad Dog. Yeah, let me get in there, man. You're in there promoting the show. I'm opening up this computer over here. It should automatically get into position. We should have something there. Discord is offline. Millions trying to get online, Dave. I know. Well, let me see if it's offline for me. I know millions are trying to get online. People can't get into our Discord show, Mad Dog. Everybody who goes into Discord is now being shut away. That's part of the Echelon's ability to knock us off the internet and keep people from chatting. It's pretty weird how this has been going down in a country that claims to be free and democratic. The reason why we're fighting desperately to get people to talk about us and keep the message going and keep the message alive is we've kept this alive for 8 years against all odds. When I first started this show, I was threatened. We had threats from terrorists. People from Saudi Arabia accused me of attacking them. When all I did was do an impersonation video of Barack Obama and also talk about the dangers of having a man who is such a liar as our president. And one time I actually put out a Blog Talk Radio show title that said, what if Barack Obama actually is a double agent? What if he's working for terrorist organizations? Wow, did I get terrorist threats against me? I had people from all over the Middle East threatening to kill me when I stated that. So I pulled the radio show. I never put that radio show out there. But I noticed that we've had nothing but resistance ever since I've been talking about how Barack Obama has been serving other groups around the world, not our country. So we've got to change this whole approach to government where people divide each other. And that's what I'm trying to work on. Della Street has died? Okay. Explain to us how people see you from UHF. Well, people have UHF TVs around the world. And our show is broadcast on our site at America's Third Party with a fairly good feed. The Battlecamp feed is better than the Vaughn feed. So people copy the site from America's Third Party and they put it out there for others to see. They push it over the ultra high frequency bandwidth, the UHF. It's the best way to get video and audio across the globe at long distances. It's better and more efficient than digital. Yeah, those analog waves are still functional, believe it or not. And people around the world are hooked up to it because they don't have money for internet. They don't have a lot of money to actually get involved in paying a monthly fee. Most people around the world are struggling, and that's why they're watching this. They like this. We talk about cutting-edge stories that come in the show and other things. My show is new to a lot of people. It may be old to you, but it's new to a lot of people. Barbara Hale is dead. She was 94 years old. 3 hours ago, Barbara Hale has passed away. The loyal Della Street on Perry Mason died at 94. Wow. People in their 90s are really kind of on the edge, you know. And then, of course, John Hurt, 77, passed away. Must have had a pretty wild life. UHF picks up microwave background radiation, proof of the Big Bang. That's interesting to know. Well, I don't think we need to unite the countries. The idea of Mexico, Canada, and the United States, that's the NAFTA treaty. That's gone. That's not going to be enforced. We believe at America's Third Party in the nation-state model. Larry Levy's in the room, yeah. I'm in the room. Let me get in the room here. Mad Dog's in there. Okay, Lemon's in the room. Mad Dog's in the room. A couple other people are in the room. We're live now on the audio. Great. Hi, guys. Hello. Hi, Lemon. Hey. Mad Dog's here, too, yeah. So she died. She passed away at 94. The Emmy award-winning actress, former starlet of RKO Pictures, starring opposite Raymond Burr at the long-running legal drama. Barbara Hale has passed away. That's another one. You know, when you think about all the suffering people endure when they get really old, it's actually kind of a relief at a certain point when a person no longer has to suffer. I don't know how much suffering these people were in their last days, but that's one saving grace that you can tell people that, you know, like when Mad Dog deals with families, of course he doesn't deal with them directly, but when you're at a funeral home, you have to at least help people understand they're no longer in pain, because most people really are in pain toward the end of their life.
Well, that's what they invented, the heavy-duty painkillers for, especially.
So true. Morphine is there for all of us who are suffering in the final hours.
That's what they really...
This is the problem. Andamide, you don't understand. Andy doesn't understand. He thinks we should do this locally and think globally. Andy, I ran a local election in 2014, and I ran for the House of Representatives here in Washington, and they stole 90% of my signs. They slandered me in the media. And it was a foreign newspaper we have here from Canada. They slandered me. So basically, doing a local campaign like this cannot happen, Andy. It's got to be international. We need millions of viewers. We've got to make this thing international. We need the political clout of an international audience, too. It's huge, and it'll eventually bring out the critical mass needed to get me an interview. Right now, I got a reporter came into our show just a couple days ago and said, I'd do an interview on you, Dave, but I'd lose my job. I possibly could get killed. They actually said that to me.
David, you need to look at your chat. There's something in there. You need to get out of it.
Is it a death threat?
Where? In the general chat room? Not seeing it. Let me expand out. Yeah, I really don't. I'm seeing pictures, videos posted. You know, I'm not going to be able to filter this room. I don't see exactly what I'm looking at. China is controlling the weather, and we'll soon make it happen.
Vaughn Live.
Oh, Vaughn Live. Well, I get people coming in here. Putin tweeted about Spadheim yesterday, really? You guys, I get people coming in and talking about unbelievably bad things all the time. I get death threats daily. Yeah. What?
His name is O-O-O-O-O-K.
Yeah, guys, I wouldn't worry about that. I get death threats daily. I get over 50 death threats a month. So, I mean, kind of roll with it. Don't worry about it.
The worst one recently was that Rodney guy said about getting drone strike.
Rodney's been in the room too?
No, it was when he phone called you at the start of the show a few days ago.
Oh yeah, we banned Rodney, perma-banned him. He doesn't come into the show anymore. I gave him every chance in the world to correct his ways, but he won't do it. Okay, Reuters is saying North Korea appears to have restarted their plutonium reactor. You know, I've heard this for the past 8 years. Ever since Obama took over, they were starting their plutonium reactor. So we know that they've been starting the plutonium reactor for the past 8 years. Is this another worry that we should have? I mean, there's nothing that we're going to be able to do about it. It's not our country. Second of all, if we do reach out to them and make some concessions and talk to Kim Jong-un, we'll probably end up having a better relationship. I mean, it stands to reason by communicating we're going to have a better relationship. Barack Obama never communicated with Kim Jong-un, and I don't think Trump is going to call him. I really don't. Unban all. I did. I unbanned everything. You sound like Paul McCartney. David, you're watching from Russia with Putin. Millions watching, comrade. I'm not your comrade, but I'm a little concerned that Putin and Donald are not getting along like they projected. Yeah, I'm getting the impression that because Putin canceled the meeting with Donald in Reykjavik, that something's not right. Yes, 96 months, 100 million or more viewers and no news coverage. That's what we're looking at here. I was thinking about this today. There's no way that they can hold back the tide of discussion about America's third party and David Sponheim. You know, Americans don't love torture. I think what people are trying to get to is Americans have been led to believe that there's terrorists everywhere. And that's partly a propaganda tool that the CIA put into place when they created this group called Al-Qaeda. It turned out that Al-Qaeda was an actual database that the CIA had. That was the name of their database, Al-Qaeda. And the database, they just said, was a group of terrorists. Well, when they claimed that Osama bin Laden was the lead of that database or that terrorist group, and he died because they claimed they killed him, we don't know if he died. There's no evidence of his dead body. There's no evidence that was him in Abbottabad. Not one stitch of evidence. But that is enough for them to have to now create a new terrorist organization. And they called it ISIS. And about 3 years ago, they created the Caliphate, the CIA did, a propaganda campaign to create fear of new terrorists. Well, I created a new sexually attractive Dave. I recognized that there was something not right about my look, so I'm now more sexually charged to a lot of the viewers. So it must be the pheromones that I'm emitting right now. I know, Donald, they say this is his kryptonite, the fact that he still wants to torture people. I do moisturize, yeah. I don't think Melania is that interested in anything with Trump right now. That's why she's living in an apartment the size of Kmart. Yeah, overlooking the beautiful city of New York. I mean, she doesn't want to live in the White House because I think she knows that she'd be living in the storm of Donald Trump, the man we are calling our president right now. You didn't realize it, but when the Republicans never asked him any poignant questions in the debates, except maybe, what do you think of the nuclear triad? And he bumbled and he didn't know what the nuclear triad was. A few things came out showing Donald Trump's incompetence, but those are just small glimpses. Now you get the presidency to really see in full detail the incompetence of Donald Trump. Well, the fact is, torture is not a good policy. It really isn't. It never works. His own ego is kryptonite. Yeah, good point, Guest 544. Well, I'm sure Barron has a floor all to himself. He has like a massive toy floor dedicated to himself. We cannot afford to pay $1 million a day to secure Melania and Barron at the New York Trump Plaza. We just can't. So Trump's going to have to come up with an alternative, maybe open up the West Wing and make kind of a child learning center out of it, and Barron could be the only one there with a couple kids coming in for play. Seriously, it'd be a lot cheaper than $365 million for Melania and Barron to live in the.
Why does it cost so much, Dave?
It costs so much because cops in New York have incredible costs. I mean, to get a cop to go anywhere costs $150,000 a year in benefits and pay. So.
How many have they got settled?
Well, they don't have the money. New York City is protesting. Over 1,000 people have signed a petition to say we don't want to pay for Melania and Barron in New York City. And they don't like the traffic jams it's causing. $1 million a day is not a bargain. Michelle's vacations and Donald Trump's vacations combined cost $80 million. Where are you getting $500 million, Frankenstein? Are you pulling that statistic out of your butt? Well, get me the facts behind that statistic. 'Cause all I've seen is that Barack Obama and Michael, his transgender lover, who they're probably going to get a divorce because there's talk in the town that they may break up. Yeah, we played a link earlier that was just kind of amazing. They went to the gay lover's friend's house, and then they took a separate jet. Apparently, Melania got on a separate jet.
Brings something freaks Michelle out.
Excuse me, Michelle got on a separate jet?
Obama motorcade appears. Obama looking pretty upset.
The motorcade pulls into this private airstrip. Whose plane is that? Whose plane is this? Not Air Force One. It's a private jet owned by Richard Branson, billionaire, founder of Virgin Airlines. Now, who gets on the plane? The Obamas. Not quite. Michelle gets on the plane. There are 0 photographs of Obama.
Okay, so Michelle got on a plane, left Obama. We're not sure if she's going to file, divorce papers or not. So anything can happen. It's a wide open situation here. And welcome to the Chinese New Year. It's now the year of the cock. Hung He Fat Choi. Somebody sent me this link. Is that supposed to be funny? You mean this isn't a traditional Chinese representation? It does look an awful lot like Donald Trump, I must admit. Anyway, congratulations, Chinese people. Their new year has achieved something different. May you have eternal blessings. Let's turn this into like a fortune cookie discussion. I had a great fortune cookie the other day. It said, curiosity kills boredom, and nothing kills curiosity. Isn't that kind of a cool fortune cookie? Today I got a fortune cookie and there was no fortune in it. Now, is that not a sign or what? The George Michael funeral has been delayed. They're releasing information about his death in piecemeal. We don't have any solid information as to what killed George Michael. The UK are calling it a murder. They know that something's not right here. George Michael's funeral delayed as coroner has yet to release his body in a month after his death. There he is, and he was living there. I think you know that. Age 53, man. I'm 56, and I'm amazed he passed away, and he was really heavy. It wasn't normal for him to. Unexplained but not suspicious? I don't know. When something's unexplained, it's suspicious. Same with Carrie Fisher's death. That's still no solid information in her autopsy as to what caused the death was. It's called inconclusive cause of death in the case of Carrie Fisher. Yeah, I know. So, I'm not really worried about North Korea having a plutonium reactor. I mean, this has been going on for years. It's not that big of a deal. Okay. I look old and fat, really? Wow. Well, I'm not. I'm in great shape. You must have a problem with your brain or your eyes, or are you suffering from vision impairment? Trump will claim anything's rigged if it doesn't agree with him. He'll always blame the messenger. This is how he operates. This is how he rolls. Now, the lawsuit seeks class action status accusing Google of AdSense fraud. It could expose more of the internal workings of how Google manages AdSense if allowed to proceed. So we're hoping some truth comes to this simple fact that AdSense seems to be a way in which the government is funding insane people. It seems that there are a lot of people that are getting a lot of money on AdSense, and there are people getting cut off of AdSense for simply talking about Pizzagate. So if you talk about the flat Earth and the ridiculously insane ideas, because there is no flat Earth. The Earth is round, and you can ask Galileo. Of course, he's dead, and Copernicus. But it's just bizarre how Google will define what is right and wrong by kicking people off. And a lot of their actions, according to this, are breach of contract, good faith, and fair dealing. So there's lawsuits pending against Google. We're going to find out why they're behaving like a Nazi propaganda device. All right, so let's see if we can get down to some simple facts. Dave, female Marines to share sleeping quarters with men. Okie dokie. Female, I don't know, man. I mean, are we that racked for places to put people that they have to sleep together in the same bed? Now that's just sad, see? There you go again. That can't be right. The U.S. Marine Corps have decided that female Marines will share sleeping quarters with their male colleagues, both on the battlefield and in combat training exercises, for the sake of unit cohesion. Marine living spaces will be co-ed in the field and in combat readiness drills to order to maintain unit strategic integrity. We're not changing our tactical posture or changing how we operate to accommodate the inclusion of female Marines. We're just going to wear tighter jock straps and force them to wear chastity belts. Yep, Subway, Pizzagate, Jared, right? Sarah comes in around 6:30-ish, so she'll be in a little later. Well, I think that personally, I wouldn't have a problem with a woman sleeping next to me. I'm not going to, reach over and grope her or anything. Whereas somebody who's a womanizer, who, likes to go around groping people, it might be a little problem. The woman would feel very, very put off if somebody were to grope her, reaching under the covers and that kind of thing. Yeah, but I'm not that kind of a person, so it wouldn't be a problem for me to sleep next to a woman. It's not like I'm going to push myself on her. And I'm not gay either. I just don't think it's right. No, they're going to include trannies. Yeah, Barack Obama put together a plan to give 15,000 people transsexual operations. Hey, what up, Rectal? I said I'm not gay. I just wouldn't grope a woman who's sitting next to me in a bunk bed. God, you people are so insecure about your sexuality. It's amazing. You must be all suffering from homosexual panic, secretly desiring the same sex. You probably are. There's a mumps outbreak. Here we go. In Washington State. Really? I'm in Washington State. I better be careful. I don't think I ever had mumps. It's especially important for you to take precautions during winter holidays. Avoid kissing, hugging, and other close contact with anyone who's suspected of having mumps. And don't go around licking any toilet seats either. That's very bad. King County's got more mumps than any other county. Where am I? I'm not even in the counties that are affected, so I have nothing to worry about. Yep. So you're fine. Nothing to worry about there. You can have as many as 5 times a day. Normal men do. Hi, it's me, Khloe. Hi, Khloe Kardashian. Khloe Kardashian is in, folks. Wow. Celebrity viewers. I'll be darned. Khloe Kardashian. Good evening, Khloe. It's rare to see somebody with such important status in this world. Khloe, I have a problem getting any news coverage. And I know you guys get unlimited news coverage. I would love to get some news coverage here in America. For some reason, the media doesn't want to allow me into the mainstream discussion, so. It would be nice. It definitely would be nice. Of course, it'd be nice to catch some surf.
You got the best girl ever, dude. Just like you pull in, you just get spit right out of them. Spit right out of them. You just drop in, just smack good. And after that, you just drop in, drop down, stand up, drop down, stand up. Ride the ground, get pitted. Ride the ground, get pitted. Ride the ground, get pitted. So pitted. Ride the ground, get pitted. Ride the ground, get pitted. Ride the ground, get pitted. So pitted. Stand
Get pitted, so pitted. All right, that was a remastered version of the Get Pitted song, courtesy of Scissor Fight. If you guys want to check this out, here's the link. You can. It's very inspirational for if you're into the beautiful ocean, whatever's left of it. You know, Frankenstein, you're starting to come around to the reality that weed is a good thing. It takes competition out of the workforce. You're right. Yeah. See, you hardcore people who've never smoked marijuana are actually okay with people smoking weed, so you don't have to compete with them because they're too, like, unmotivated to work. Okay, we've got a serious analysis. Dark Engine just brought us a list of people that many people believe were eliminated to help Vladimir Putin maintain his power in Russia. 45-year-old March. He's not 45 anymore, no. This is an old story. March of 1997. Wow. Going back in time. Oh, going forward in time. Yeah. Lots of people have kind of fallen by the wayside who were activists, speakers against the Putin administration. Gone. So he's got his own little death count, just like Hillary, doesn't he? Wow. Hey, thanks for coming in. You guys can speak up anytime if you want.
Hey, Dave, what do you think of Martin Shkreli?
Martin Shkreli?
Martin Shkreli.
Martin Shkreli? Martin Scorsese? I don't know who Martin Shkreli is. Who is he?
The guy that bought that AIDS medication called Daraprim and raised the price. It was selling in the US at $13 per pill, and he raised it to $750 per pill.
Oh, I didn't even know about that. So he's basically trying to rip off people who have AIDS.
Kind of. It's not actually fighting AIDS. It fights some sort of parasite for people with weak immune systems. Usually, people who also have AIDS. But it's a rare disease, and only a few thousand people in America actually have it.
Okay, well, I did not even know about it. That's how rare it is. So, I guess we're okay with it. Yeah.
But since he did it, people have started to notice how bad some of the pharmaceuticals companies are. And since then, he got an indictment for securities fraud.
Oh, okay.
And he's going to be in trial from June. So he thinks he's going to win. He does a lot of controversial interviews with like Fox and CNN and stuff.
Okay, let me show you a little bit of the story of Pharma Bro Martin Shkreli is in court as securities fraud case moves closer to trial. So, hi Sarah.
Hi, David.
Apple might be eyeing the vaping industry. They're looking for a possible device for people to vape with. Interesting. Okay, so this man who created a solution for people with symptoms of various diseases, former chief executive officer for Turing Pharmaceuticals, arrived at federal court with his attorney, Benjamin Brafman in Brooklyn. Martin Shkreli and his now ex-lawyer definitely want to be tried separately on criminal charges. Lawyers for Shkreli and his co-defendant Evan Griebel confirmed Thursday that the duo wants separate juries to decide their fate on fraud and conspiracy charges in Brooklyn federal court. Profiting from people in the pharmaceutical industry is like one and the same. And here's a patent Apple just applied for a vaping device to vape marijuana. So apparently they see the benefit of creating devices that are already selling pretty heavily on the internet, like the vape. There's vaporizers like the Volcano, which people can put marijuana in and then get the strong THC out of. But here's a simple patent applied by Apple of all things.
Wow.
Isn't that interesting? So they're seeing the benefit of legalization of marijuana. And by the way, everybody, Jeff Sessions just threw the ball into the Congress's court. So you know the man who Donald Trump wants to be Attorney General nominated. Jeff Sessions actually has been overheard saying that good people don't smoke marijuana. But he's now kind of softening, and he believes that Congress should just legalize marijuana and pull it off the list of controlled substances. Cannabis should be made legal, and I think he's right. I got a real boost there, thinking that this guy is really coming around. Sarah's here, everybody. Hello, Sarah.
Hello, everybody.
Yes, gold is down to $11.91. Silver is up 1712. So silver's making a comeback, and the Dow Jones dipping a little bit from where it was, down a few points to 20,093. Sessions is watching my show, I guess. He's kind of like tuning into why the American people want to legalize it. So many states now do want it legal in some form or another. 36 states have some method of legalization in place.
And I would just tell Jeff Sessions and all the people that are concerned about it is just because it's legal doesn't mean that any American has to or necessarily will engage in it. I mean, I, for one, think whatever people want to do with themselves, it's kind of like, individual rights issue. What people want to do with themselves and their bodies is up to them.
Yeah.
But I would never decide to smoke marijuana or ingest marijuana in any way, shape, or form, just because I made that decision for myself. And I think that ironically, by legalizing it, we can encourage others to do so. I think one of the big things is that there's one example of this is there's been a lot less people that are smoking cigarettes these days than in the past due to our educational efforts about how the health effects of cigarettes, etc.
Right, exactly. So he's actually answering questions about marijuana policy in the United States. So he's proving to be much better of an attorney general than we expected. So that's a good sign. That's actually, we're seeing some hope. That's good. Okay, we'll see if his answering questions really helps. He testified in front of the Senate Judiciary Committee that he wouldn't commit to ever enforcing federal law. Good. We don't want federal law enforced in states that are legalizing it for a reason. Okay. Right. I'm going to take a break. You've got the gang over there at Discord who are in the background. Good news stories coming around. Having Marines, and this is a story that just came in. Marines are going to be sharing their field tents, men and women, together. That's going to be a new thing.
Okay.
I don't have a problem with it.
People are people.
I just hope there's no abuse. I don't want more people allegedly molesting, people in the military. Over 25,000 molestations occur every year that are reported. That's not a good thing. And then moving closer to putting them in the same barracks, I don't know. We need to resolve the problem, don't you think?
Night mission.
And Trump wants to slash the EPA workforce budget. Yeah, I wanted to slash the EPA workforce budget, but for a different reason. He probably wants to encourage industrial waste. I wanted to make sure good people were in the EPA and get rid of the bad deadwood. Here, this is former head of President Donald Trump's transition team at the EPA says he expects the new administration to seek significant budget and staff cuts. Okay, 15,000 employees nationwide. Slashing the agency's size by about half would be a good start. That's what I've been saying for 8 years. Slashing the government budgeting by 50% by eliminating people who are unnecessary at various agencies. Trespassing, that's trespassing. You're speaking in another alien language. Yeah, I can't decipher that. Do you read hieroglyphs?
No.
I don't know. I don't have the ability to read hieroglyphs.
No.
Yeah.
I'm sure, if given enough time, I could figure it out, but...
And Trump sworn in a new Secretary of Defense. All right, we'll have to figure out who that is. We're getting the chat in full screen right here.
I think you can maybe convince her to go half with you to iCyclops.
Well, I'll never do that again.
What?
Grab a screen off the...
Here.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Nothing's working. There we go. Okay. Trump is already... Trump is doing everything I said I would do 5 years earlier. 5 to 6 years earlier. And Trump's doing everything I said I would do. So he's doing a good job. Yeah. Stealing my ideas has been very good for America. So far, Trump's on a good roll. Ending the Trans-Pacific Partnership, defunding Planned Parenthood, abortions, and obviously, cutting back on the cost of the departments that are wasting money in our government. So, hey, You can agree with the core of anybody's efforts. My ideas have been stolen by Trump over the past 2 years. So since he's implementing my ideas, chances are he's going to be okay up to a point until he starts making decisions of his own. That's where you got to start worrying.
David supports the ideas that David had.
Yeah. According to Baltimore school districts, there's going to be 1,000 layoffs. Baltimore is running out of money. The tax base can't support the cost of teachers. And Annapolis, Maryland, more than 1,000 Baltimore City school employees are going to face layoffs as the district tries to close a $129 million budget deficit. You know, this is exactly what happened to Washington before we got our current governor, or now we have a new governor, but...
Inslee?
Yeah.
Jay Inslee?
Yeah, but the former governor, not this guy, but yeah, the former governor.
I know who you're talking about. There's a
Right.
woman, and there was a guy from China. Her name was.
Yeah, really.
It started with a C.
Christine Gregoire.
Christine Gregoire. See, I did know. So
Yeah, you got it. Christine Gregoire was the person who actually said that she had to cut $500 million off the budget.
Before that was Gary Locke.
And she was crying. She was saying, I was so sorry. I have to cut the $500 million from the budget. And the Jay Inslee takes over and he borrows $1 billion. This is how ridiculous politics can be. She's trying to be fair and decent, and the next guy just ramps up the credit line and just borrows more. There's a claim made of the hydrogen wonder material. I don't know, I've never heard of the hydrogen wonder material, but smaller than the cross-section of a hair on your head, the tiny sample went from transparent to black to highly reflective as the pressure was increased. Becoming shiny and reflective is a sign the material has become a solid metal. Okay. If it's true, it fulfills more than an 80-year quest to produce what many have said would be a wonder material. The theory suggests metallic hydrogen could be used to make zero-resistance electrical wiring and super powerful rocket fuel. Well, that's exciting. Isn't that special? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Prediction from Guest 262. If you are psychic or not, your prediction is noted. You believe the Dow Jones will crash to 12,000 from its existing near 20,000 within 24 months. Wow.
Okay.
In 2 years, the Dow Jones will reduce down to 12,000. You know, I made a similar prediction back in 1985, and I was wrong. And that was back when the Dow Jones wasn't even 12,000. I said it was going to have a 60 to 80% collapse back then, and I was wrong. Arkansas governor signs abortion law banning common procedure. Okay. I'm going to give the show to Sarah. You can take it from here. Thank you.
Right. Well, federal funding does not go to pay for abortion. That's already a federal law. There are certain funding that goes to Planned Parenthood, but that's for other things. It's not for abortions. Yeah, exactly, Timothus. David does believe in a universal basic income. Take it easy on your brains tonight. Okay, I won't read from the book. I'll just reply to chat. I know the apple, banana, coconut. Thank you, 517. Yes, night mission. Does all income need to be reported to the IRS? They would say yes. No math equations? Do you want me to just read to you? I could do that. Oh, designed by UBI Soft? That's hilarious, Dr. Meow. Alright, wait, what is this? Oh, you want me to download Kindle for PC? I'll think about it. I don't know if I want to do it on this section. I don't have hysterical literature, but... Oh, you know it would be good. It's kind of like hysterical literature. Idioms. Idioms might have you laughing. Let's do that. I don't know what David is for. It isn't always the non-native speaker's accent, which may be perfect, that enables people to recognize instantly an outsider who is learning their language. It's the odd mistakes that no native speaker would make. The idiomatic use of words such as to, for, and with varies from language to language. Just as each person has a unique characteristic signature, each language has unique idioms. Right? Yeah, my hair's getting a little curly. In fact, the word idiom comes from the Greek word idio, meaning a unique signature. Thus, each language contains expressions that make no sense when translated literally into another language. The humorist Art Buchwald wrote a famous column, often reprinted, in which he translates some of our Thanksgiving, Mercy Donat, I think, terms. Hence, idiopathic. Unique. A feeling that's unique to a person? I don't know. All right.
Hey, Sarah, what do you think about Martin Shkreli?
About Martin Shkreli?
Yeah.
Let me see. Let me look him up. I don't have a lot of... I haven't done a lot of research on him. I'll say that.
Basically, he raised the price of a drug he bought from $13 a pill to $750.
Oh, then I think that's horrific.
But he claims that he doesn't take any profits from it, and 70% of patients get it for $1 for the full thing because they're not insured. And that all the money profits he makes from it, he puts into developing like new drugs rather than keeping profits like other pharmaceutical companies does.
Well, saying that you put the money into new drugs, that's just like, there's so much money.
He also claims he was invested in a new drug because the current drug has really bad side effects.
Well, why doesn't he...
It's a tough one, really.
Yeah, but you're talking about not... It would be... I would say he could have doubled his price and been fine, but you're not talking about doubling your price. You're talking about raising it, thousands of times, basically.
Well, he claims that it had to be done in order for it to turn up a small profit. And the previous owners were selling them $13 a pill, were making a huge loss or something like that. That's what he claims, and only a few thousand people in the US actually suffer from it.
The thing is, though, it's just like, well, then why, I don't know. I guess...
And the way he sells it is that the people that actually pay $750 a pill are actually like people like Walmart and Amazon and big companies like that. Whereas the normal person that maybe aren't insured will only pay $1 for it.
So it's just like, for him, but no, the insurance companies pay, don't the insurance companies pay for the difference?
Apparently it's completely covered by insurance. That's what he claims. I don't know how true it is. I'm not too much.
Well, the issue I have with insurance, and I have an issue, I would say, with I do and I don't. I sometimes I wonder about this issue with sliding scale. I mean, when you go in, it's only cars and insurance and healthcare that have these variable pricing for different people. Usually it's, I provide a service, I charge this much money, and that's the price you're going to get for the service I provide. Or I sell a product and the product costs this much money, and this is the product you'll get for the price that you pay. But only with like, besides an auction, you don't go into it's only healthcare and automobiles where it's like different people walk in the door and they pay a different price. And even automobiles, it's not drastically different when someone walks in the door. Usually it's it's fairly similar. And, it's like, oh, well, you have insurance, so you pay way less because the insurance companies negotiates on your behalf to get the price down. Whereas if you walk in without insurance, you pay a huge amount more. Or oh, wait, even more, like almost as bad is like, oh, you don't have insurance, so you were going to knock down the price. I mean, it's just like, just give me the darn price. Everyone should be paying the same amount. You shouldn't say, oh, well, we charge this person $1 and this person $750. Should be, why? That's one question I would say. Why the different costs?
His argument is he claims he's happy to take it from big businesses like Google and Walmart and stuff like that. But obviously, he's not happy to take it from the small people that are paying insurance and stuff. He's happy to give it away for $1.
If you're happy to give it away for $1, then it should be whoever wants it should get it for $1.
Well, arguably they could, I guess, because if you somehow got the disease, I'm sure you could stop taking insurance and just get it for $1. But people that already have insurance and stuff.
I hate this insurance nightmare that we have. Like, I hate the way our healthcare system is run in the United States.
It is fucked up.
It's messed up beyond belief. It's just, the thing that, like, so for instance, usually healthcare insurance is paid for through your work, right? Well, sometimes, so say you become super ill and you can no longer work. Well, if you can no longer work, then you no longer get health insurance. So then you get the bill for what would have normally gone to your insurance. What's with that? And it's because you got sick that you can no longer afford the health care. But if you're a working person, oh, you can afford it. And it's like, it's like the insurance costs increase for the people that need it most. And I really would like to see our entire healthcare system changed. Not necessarily take our existing, and I believe that you can do it in such a way as not take our healthcare system down completely. I believe that we can have a competing one, like build a system from the ground up that says, like, this is another way to do it, and then let them compete. One thing I really admire is there's some places where the doctors, they get rid of all of the administrative stuff and they just say, hey, we're going to see people and we're going to charge a price. And because a lot of times doctors don't even know the prices that the hospitals that they work for are charging their patients. I mean, how messed up is that? And then the hospitals have this issue where they say, oh, I learned this one from my brother who works in a hospital. Most people don't know this. They can do what's called admit you, right? Well, if you're admitted, then your insurance and you pay a different price than if they don't admit you. And here's the issue. The different prices is if they admit you, they say you're sick enough, we are requiring you to stay in the hospital, then they admit you. And no, my brother's not a doctor. But if they require you to stay in the hospital, then they can only bill your insurance. There's a cap on how much they can bill your insurance each day. Well, the other thing that they can do is they can say, oh, we'd like you to stay for observation, quote unquote, stay for observation, which to the patient sounds like, oh, well, maybe I'm just not as sick as they, admit that. I'm not sick enough for them to admit me, but they still want to just keep an eye on me. Therefore, it's supposed to be like this wording that makes it sound good, right? But it's actually worse, because if they keep you for observation, then what happens is they can bill you for every little thing that they do individually, rather than like say, oh, we're going to charge you for a flat fee for the 24 hours. Either way, you're in the hospital for 24 hours, but if they claim they're keeping you for observation, it ends up being a lot more expensive than if they actually go ahead and admit you.
Yeah, that's messed up.
Yeah, well, you know what, Frankenstein, at least you know this. If you try and tell the hospital, oh, I'm fine, I don't want to stay for observation, and they try to surround you with guards and everything, then you say, you know what? You either admit me or you let me go, because I'm not going to stay for observation, because that one with the staying for observation is when they ding your insurance like crazy. And of course, everybody also has caps on their insurance. It's just, unbelievable. Yes, you do have a higher chance of even getting sicker the longer you're there, because there's certain germs that are only in hospitals and aren't other places. And the sick people, sick people accumulate. They go to the actual hospital, so you might not be as sick as someone else that comes in that is really sick. Well, they can do a 24 or 72 hour hold on some people, Frankenstein. That's legal, but after the 72 hours are up, I don't know if they can do that. I do have my ears pierced, but I don't really wear earrings that often. And then Time did a really great report. When you say it's $75 for a single aspirin, Time did a really great report on how much individual products actually cost to produce, to create, to manufacture, versus how much hospitals charge for them. And it's unbelievable. Like a bag of saline, it costs 12 cents to produce. They charge $50 for a bag of saline. It's just healthcare. That's one of my other passions, that I really believe that, a 10-cent Tylenol, they'll charge you $23 if you're staying in the hospital. And the ambulance rides, you're talking about like maybe a 2-mile ride, 10 miles if and it's like, it's like $1,000 just to ride in the ambulance. Oh goodness. Yeah, it's just, oh goodness. I really believe that there's alternatives that we can explore with healthcare, and we could do a much better job. We have the resources, we have the people, we have so many intelligent people in our country, and we could do a much better job with healthcare in our country. I think that the only way to really get the American people behind it is to offer an alternative. And what really irks me is when people have insurance and then they get sick and they lose their insurance because they lose their job, but they don't lose their sickness. So we don't actually provide care. And that's the whole thing. It's called health care, because we're supposed to care for people. We're supposed to have empathy for people.
It's ironic that people have to sign and say the Hippocratic Oath, which means that they would offer their services for free. And here they charge more than any other industry in the world. Healthcare is super corrupt. I agree, 598. We want a public option, and we will stand by that. We're not going to give it up like Obama did. Trump won't even consider a public option. So We think the public option, taking the middlemen out of the insurance game, will help.
Everything else we know the bill for ahead of time. Medical, we have no idea.
Right. We have no knowledge if the doctors are even safe. I mean, wouldn't it be great to have a national register of doctors that we can see how many malpractice accusations have been filed against them? How many went to lawsuits? How many settled in court? You know, this information would be very important when we're coming to the most important decision of our life, and we want to give our future and put our future in the hands of somebody who may have had multiple malpractice insurance problems. You know, where they've got numerous complaints. So we have a better solution. The public option would cost $50 a month per person. And we actually talked to a couple people. Ryan from Oklahoma, Dr. Ryan from Oklahoma, he said he's doing it for $40 a month, and the government's trying to shut him down.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he's got a plan for $40 a month, and he can even integrate dental care into the plan. And he's got a few doctors working for him in Oklahoma. And he's trying to move to another state, and he's having a litigatory crisis with the government. They don't want public doctors to do direct pay public options.
There's
It's crazy.
so many options, and it's all because the insurance companies and pad the pocket of the politicians rather than trying to actually, the insurance companies aren't looking for solutions because they're in business to make money. Oh,
598 says,
it's
Dave.
not in business to care for people.
Yeah. 598 says, Dave, doctors make $1,000 an hour in emergency. In the ER, they make $1,000 an hour on average. So you can go to ER and make $8,000 a day for an 8-hour shift if you're a doctor. Can you believe that? I mean, how many people in this room make $8,000 a day? I doubt one of you make $8,000 a day. We probably have the Kardashian, Khloe, she makes $8,000 a day just for appearances.
Actually, insurance companies do get paid for you being healthy.
They do.
The hospitals get paid for you being sickly and constantly medicated. They get paid from insurance companies that rich people lose when they're too sick to work.
And now
we
Obamacare.
need to rethink this.
We do. And Obamacare has expanded the cost of health insurance for the government $38 billion a month over what it was. So these clinics are going, of course, Mr. Smith, we'd love to see you back in, make that 2 months for your regular visit instead of 3. And they're getting clearance to get charged. All these people are coming in for unnecessary procedures, and they've got a for-profit business at the public hospital level now and the nonprofit hospital level. They're just making more and more money. This is a game. It's a scam. And then bilk you if you don't have insurance, but you have equity. If you got any equity at all, they'll take everything.
Good point.
But if you go in there poor and broke, they'll give you free health care like they're giving Ed right now.
At least to a certain extent. I mean, they won't give you everything, but...
Yeah. Well, I don't support forced vaccinations. I just don't believe in them. I believe that in some cases vaccinations have worked in our society. Yeah, the mobile medical unit idea is an excellent idea if we can deploy it. I would love to continue that concept that Donald Trump stole the idea. I doubt that Donald Trump is going to make them, but, we'll see. We'll see what Trump wants to do with all the ideas he's taken from me.
Let's leave this here for now.
Thanks, Sarah. Yeah, healthcare is a very personal issue for me because, there's nothing more free than our bodies. And somebody saying, sir, you have to have an inoculation, otherwise you will go to the FEMA camp. I'm not going to say, yeah, inoculate me. I won't do that. I don't trust them. I don't trust what the kind of inoculations they're working on. The CDC is developing a rabies Ebola vaccine. Why would they want to do that? Why would anyone want to have a rabies Ebola vaccine? And they bring Ebola people into their country and they expect it not to spread? I mean, what the hell's wrong with these people? Yeah, don't ever go into a hospital with a gun. Good point. But they'll kill you at the hospital. There's a huge incidence of death from contamination, staph infections. 250,000 people in America die a year. 1 million people get infected by staph infections that are hospital-borne, bad sterile technique by doctors, etc. And the vaccines are all about the money. GlaxoSmithKline, Baxter Labs, all of the big, huge vaccination companies. I'm anxious to see what Donald Trump is going to do. They said he's considering Robert F. Kennedy Jr. as the Robert Kennedy Jr. as the person in charge of vaccines, and he's not in favor of excess vaccines. So he's a very brilliant man, Robert Kennedy Jr. If Trump picks him, I'll be gaining some respect for him, We'll see. I need to make sure that we don't force vaccinate people. We've got to put a barrier so that our personal bodies are not violated. It's the most personal thing, I think, is our body. I mean, we don't make it legal to rape people. Why would we make it mandatory to force vaccinate people? Sticking some needle in our body, which is even worse than rape when you think about it. Although I've never been raped, so I don't really know. I say willingly, if you want it, go for it. Dave, Adderall business is earning billions, forcing kids, yeah. That's right. Adderall is hooking kids up to the speed business. I've met people who've been on Ritalin, the precursor of Adderall, and they turned into speed freaks in their later years. It hasn't just happened once, it happens a lot. Speed freaks are oftentimes Ritalin users when they were kids. So it's almost like it's not their fault, ironically. I mean, when you think about it, drug addiction. There's a reason why people are taking drugs. They're trying to kill the pain of some sort. They're trying to change up their way of thinking. It's a sign, it's a symptom. Drug addiction is a symptom of a failing society in so many ways. If people don't have opportunity, if they don't see a bright future, they turn to drugs to anesthetize themselves, to kill the pain of the reality that they face. It's like they're Mr. Anderson. Mr. Anderson, you appear to be on heroin, Mr. Anderson. Are you a drug addict, Mr. Anderson? Are you addicted to Prozac? Are you addicted to Ritalin? What is your problem, Mr. Anderson? How come you're not conforming to the Matrix, Mr. Anderson? These are the real heavy questions. I don't know. Thank you. Most heroin users started with Percolate or Percocet. There you go. They like the morphine derivatives. So in a way, Big Pharma kind of enticed people to become heroin addicts. But the truth is, our government is guarding the heroin crops in Afghanistan. Yeah, Mark just paid for his cousin's 38-foot underground pool. Folks, I've been hearing story after story of the owner of the site that we're running our show. And as you know, you're watching us on UHTV. You're the witness to this. You can't come in and chat. I'm going to speak for you because I know a lot of you are going, how come we cannot come in and chat? You have been completely IP banned by the person who runs this network of chatters that I'm talking to at the Vaughn Network. Mark is banning IPs. He's even bragged about it on Facebook. And in exchange for that, he actually gets, I'm going to guess, millions of dollars. Because the way he's spending money, he bought a brand new boat last week, 28-foot boat, Bayliner. He just bought his cousin's 38-foot underground pool. He just bought his dad a brand new truck and a $55,000 Rolex. He just acquired a late model Nissan sports car. I mean, what can I say? I make nothing. I have zero income from this effort. We've drawn so many viewers to this site, and he is simply keeping you out because he gets money to do that. That's my suspicion. It's not good. When somebody does something like that, it shows you lack of ethics. And it's a slam in the face of free speech. It really is. And it may very well be illegal on FCC grounds. If the FCC, yeah, he bought his dad a $40,000 truck for Christmas. Thank you. If the FCC really is overseeing the internet as a utility here in the U.S., that's not a joke, it's real. The FCC now sees the internet as a utility, then by all means, Mark and Google and Facebook and all the networks have to abide by free speech. So the effort by Google to knock 200 people off their AdSense network because they use Pizzagate in their dialogue, that's illegal. Free speech rules. And this is completely, I seriously wonder where the funding's coming from. Something's not right here. Because he doesn't sell enough accounts on VIP. There's not a lot of VIPs. There are only like Dr. Meow's a VIP. No, really, Dr. Meow. There's no stream of money for Mark. If you can find it, I would love to hear where it's coming from. But we do know that he is censoring this network and all of our efforts to bring people in. Every time I move to another network, they clamp us down. They shut down millions of viewers who tried to get into our Discord chat room over there. And people said they've been blocked. They've been IP blocked. It says it on their screen. They can't get into the chat room over there at Discord. So we're kind of trying to morph into a new chat room, but we can't find one without them going there and attacking it. Now you're speaking, through jokes and hyperbole. Now, we do know that Mark bought a boat. He may have bought an underground 38-foot pool. We don't know. Mark didn't have the ownership of JTV. No. Mark is a guy who just worked as an assistant on JTV and then grabbed the code and morphed it into this. The reason why I'm censored so heavily, and a lot of you people don't understand, Guest 484 says, is because my message is alive. People love it. People around the world are loving the idea of a third party. They really enjoy it. And my message has the potential to grow. And they don't like that. And because it's growing so rapidly on the internet, because of UHF video, and the simple fact that they can push a signal out there one way to people and they can listen, it's changed the entire dimension. The mainstream media will not let me in. I've heard from people who are journalists, and I said this earlier, that if they do a story on me, they'll lose their job. The two women that came to my home from the NBC or the ABC affiliate in Seattle actually lost their job right away. We are using UHF. It's not just telling us to do that. It wasn't my intention to do it. It was the work of the people around the world that said, do we want to bump the signal and show this free content to people around the world? So John Hurt died. A great actor. He was called the Elephant Man. He was in a lot of apocalyptic movies. I think he was in 1984. Brilliant actor. Considered one of the best for taking heavy roles. I think you're doing tremendous, just great. Thank you.
I am not the Elephant Man.
Yeah, really. I am not a human being. Well, he's no longer living. He's famous for his big statements that he said. He was the Elephant Man. We've got a person who came in our room last night who was at the G20 riots back in 2009. Man.
You're in the Situation Room.
This is CNN Breaking News.
All right, Brian Todd, our correspondent on the scene in Pittsburgh right now for the G20 summit. He's been covering the protesters, some of them anarchists. There are tons of police security authorities on the scene right now. This
happened, we heard of riots recently in New York. They're still out there screaming. The Donald Trump factor is played in, but 6 years ago, or 7 years ago, in 2009, there were riots in Pittsburgh, in G20 riots, in which they used some pretty intense weapons to control the crowd. And this person who was in the riots came into our room last night and was talking about it. He got very emotional because his freedoms were totally taken away. He was one of those people they called an anarchist, and he was just out there protesting the EU's gathering, the G20. The G20 gathered, and they were going to, stop this corporate takeover of the world. And they were out there protesting, and he said he feared for his life. The police put him in a position where they didn't know if they were going to live or die. That's how frightened he was. And it actually brought back the PTSD feelings he had, and he started, crying in the chat room. It was pretty sad. I walked him through it, and we were in the room till 2:30 last night talking. But I'm not going to tell you who it was, but he was really upset that his whole freedom was destroyed that day. His view of the world of America was destroyed that day. A lot of people who did protest the G20 effects back in 2009, they're just people like you and I that don't want corporations taking over the country. So we're going to play that video and others tonight after our show around 10 p.m. So if you happen to come back and want to check our show out, we do play videos all the way to 2 in the morning. Kind of amazing. We have this constant video thing going, which is nice. I said this earlier, Donald Trump added KT McFarland to his security team. She is Henry Kissinger's assistant from way back. She is essentially a woman who is Kissinger's puppet in the Trump administration. So in case you're wondering Trump pretty much embedded Kissinger's puppet in his administration. Okay, let's see. And other information. Recently, people are saying that the move to turn California into its own country is moving forward. A bid to make Golden State separate nation jumps first hurdle. The group behind the proposal says Yes California Independence campaign was cleared on Thursday by California Secretary of State Alex Padilla to begin the bid to collect some 600,000 voter signatures required to put the ambitious plan on the ballot, AP reported. The initiative would ask voters to repeal part of the state constitution that declares California a separate part of the United States of America. So the secessionist movement of California could gain ground because of all the people pissed off at Trump. Okay. A worker at Amazon says the First Lady has purchased a... Are you just coming? Don't give me fake news. You got to come up with a link, man. That's not funny. Yeah, well, Mark's profiting big time from the censorship. We're positive that this is he's holding viewers back, and all these chatters that want to be a participant can't get in here. And it's very frustrating. So we're still working on new angles to do this. And now California is also making it a trend by saying they want to propose adding a third non-binary gender option for driver's license and other official documents. So if a transgender like Pat were to come in there, and the cop would say, okay, sir, ma'am, sir, could you show me your driver's license and registration? I'm Pat. And the person's, okay, Pat, could you show me your... Then he'll immediately see that Pat is a tranny. Wow. Cutting edge coming from the extreme liberal state of California. The little Soviet Union, they call it. Well, Twitch hasn't taken the market by storm, in my opinion, and Facebook hasn't either. Frankly, Mark benefited greatly when we moved over here. We had hundreds of thousands, if not 1 million viewers at Blog TV. And Blog TV got bought up 4 or 5 years ago. I know you can't insult me without access. You need to get in here to get access to insult me. You had your dog neutered and now you call him Susan. That's kind of cool in a sick kind of gender non-specific way. What the hell's going on in the world? I know. Isn't it time for your rectal exam? Rectal exam? The media lies, the government lies, the media lies for the government. It's all fake. Yeah, ironically, the mainstream media that came up with the words fake news, they are the fake news. It's not people on the blogosphere. You're actually getting more information than ever before. Heinz, pushing to make the Super Bowl a national holiday. Really? Is this some sort of a new campaign? The company Heinz is pushing to make Super Bowl Monday a national holiday. Call it Smonday. Wow. Boy, we really made advancements here. Kraft Heinz Company is calling an audible, giving it to its U.S. employees a day off following the Super Bowl, pushing the rest of the employees to declare the day off a national holiday. So Heinz employees will have the day off. And they're doing it for just name recognition, I think. Okay, I don't really want to listen to Jeannie Most.
What would you sacrifice to see your team win the big game in Houston? Well, according to a new survey, more than half of Americans would give up all their vacation days for 1 year to see their favorite team crowned Super Bowl champs. More than a third would forfeit their annual bonus to do the same. And it's getting cheaper to drive, gas prices dropping.
Okay, that was the Fox snooze. Well, it's not really huge, Politics for Dummies. I cammed socially at Twitch, and I was immediately shut down. Yeah, they banned me immediately. And I take bans very seriously. So I read the TOS regulations, the terms of service at Twitch. And they said if anybody in any way sounds homophobic, they can ban you. So if I have a bunch of people calling me gay in here, and I'm not gay, and I call them out saying, you got to stop calling me gay, they would perceive that as homophobia on Twitch, and they could probably kick me off the network and justify it. Seriously. So I'm not doing a Twitch show for a reason right now. But every time we did do Twitch, prior to being banned, we had the same problem we had with Discord. They shut down all the IPs that went into Twitch. They control the signal over there. Believe me, Amazon, Google, these companies are completely in sync with the fusion project that Echelon is called. Echelon is the NSA's effort to control all angles, all pinpoint points at which they can no longer control the message. Now, they've lost control of the message on the UHF networks. You people who are watching the show are actually trend-setting, believe it or not. We don't know why people call me gay at all. But the fact of the matter is, if they do, and I can contest them on Twitch, they could claim that's homophobia. Ridiculous. Politically correct BS. I don't like the whole approach. Yeah, Twitch is acquired by Amazon for $970 million. It's a shame because Justin got $1 billion for selling it to Twitch. So, we think Amazon is politically correct. We believe the government is trying to impose political correction upon the society. It's part of the mind control. Anytime somebody says, well, that's just not politically correct, well, who cares? The fact of the matter is, your First Amendment rights protect you to say whatever the hell you want to say. There's no Bill of Rights saying everyone has the right to be politically correct. Okay. North Korea appears to have a nuclear plutonium reactor. We got that. No big deal. I don't think it's a big problem. There is a problem with the smoke emanating from it. They've found smoke emanating from it, which could mean, radioactive plutonium is emanating into the skies above Pyongyang, but I'm not really worried about it myself. If you're living in North Korea, you're concerned, and there's nothing you can do about it either. So, what can we do to minimize that potential stressor? Not much. Okay, moving over. Okay, Trump has been a Twitter-holic. He's been tweeting things that just don't make any sense. And many people are not aware that he has a security breach like Hillary did. Yeah, I'll give you this link. You can check it out further. Trump's Twitter account is hastily reset after a hacker revealed a private Gmail account was being used to secure his POTUS handle. It may be vulnerable to sophisticated hackers, so yeah. I imagine he'll probably say that next time he misspells a word. He'll say, oh, somebody hacked my account. It wasn't my fault. You think I'm asexual? Wow. That's kind of sad. That would really bum you out, wouldn't it, if I was? Great. And then... Right. Chat room. Executive order. A draft of an executive order on secret CIA prisons signals a return to the darkness of the post-9/11 period. We had this discussion a couple days ago, but this is exactly what we feared. Donald Trump would be pushing the next layer of the New World Order. Okay, Duct Tape just lost his account again. We're not going to allow him in the show because he's got no brains. I think Scissor Fight and I have talked about this. Duct Tape has absolutely no reason in the world to attack me, considering I've given him a place at the show. So now he's on my permaban list. The guy has no critical thinking ability. He's out of here. I won't allow him back in. Grad student exposes a massive network of over 350,000 fake Twitter accounts. Really? Okay, so this whole thing about instigating new prisons is involving reinstigating the old plan George W. Bush had of rendition and actually having CIA prisons around the world. They haven't had them. Now they've been sending people out under Obama's term called rendition, when they sent them out for torture. But Trump likes torture so much that he's rescinding a 2009 executive order that banned torture and closed CIA prisons. So welcome to the new prison state of Donald Trump. Yep. No, Duct Tape just made a comment that I won't allow in the show. Yeah. I will not allow him to be in the show anymore. That's it for him. He had 2, that was a strike 3 thing for him. It doesn't matter what he said, but it's over for him. Yeah. Okay. A computer scientist in London has stumbled across massive networks of fake Twitter accounts, the largest consisting of over 350,000 profiles, which may have been used to fake numbers of followers, send spam, and boost internet interest in trending topics. I bet they're all Trump supporters. Charlie Sheen and Trump supporters. Instantaneous Twitter, massive audience. You probably pay people to give you over 500,000 Twitter followers. But these are 350,000 bots. They stood out because all the accounts in it shared several subtle characteristics that revealed they were linked. Wow. Tweets coming from where nobody lives. Messages being posted only from Windows phones. Quotes from Star Wars novels. Wow. Yeah. The thing about Duct Tape is he kept dragging the show down. Every single time we talked about the dangers of chemtrails, he doesn't believe in chemtrails. Every time we talked about the dangers of vaccinations, he doesn't believe the vaccinations are dangerous. Every time, we even found out he was chipped. He has an RFID chip in his hand. So, people who are chipped, I don't really want them in my chat room. Are any of you chipped? Don't tell me. Don't tell me if you're chipped. Thanks. I think chipping is the ultimate violation of your freedom. So his whole brain doesn't conform with our mindset here. I don't really understand where he's coming from. He's just in denial land. So he really doesn't belong here. He's just a place for him to hang out and attack people, unfortunately. Okay, so I'm going to bring in some alternative views. Here's Aldous Huxley.
Is either the bureaucracies of big business or the bureaucracies of big government.
Now, the devices that you were talking about, are there specific devices or methods of communication which diminish our freedoms in addition to overpopulation and over-organization?
Well, there are certainly devices which can be used in this way. I mean, let us take, after all, a piece of very recent and very painful history is the propaganda used by Hitler, which was incredibly effective. I mean, what were Hitler's methods? Hitler used terror on the one kind, brute force on the one hand, but he also used a very efficient form of propaganda, which he was using every modern device at that time. He didn't have TV, but he had the radio, which he used to the fullest extent, and was able to impose his will on an immense mass of people. I mean, the Germans were a highly educated people.
Well, we're aware of all this, but how do you equate Hitler's use of propaganda with the way that propaganda, if you will, is used, let us say, here in the United States? Are you suggesting that there is a parallel?
Needless to say, it's not being used in this way now. But the point is, it seems to me, that there are methods at present available, methods superior in some respects to Hitler's method, which could be used in a bad situation. I mean, what I feel very strongly is that we mustn't be caught by surprise by our own advancing technology. This has happened again and again in history. Technology has advanced, and this changes social conditions, and suddenly people have found themselves in a situation which they didn't foresee and doing all sorts of things they didn't really want to do.
Well, now, what do you mean? Do you mean that we develop our television, but we don't know how to use it? correctly? Is that the point that you're making?
Well, at present the television, I think, is being used quite harmlessly. It's being used, I think, I would feel it's being used too much to distract everybody all the time. But I mean, imagine, which must be the situation in all communist countries, where the television, where it exists, is always saying the same thing the whole time, is always driving along. It's not creating a wide front of distraction, it's creating a one-pointed drumming in of a single idea all the time. It's obviously an immensely powerful instrument.
So you're talking about the potential misuse of the instrument.
Exactly. We have, after all technology is in itself morally neutral. These are just powers which can either be used well or ill. It's the same thing with atomic energy. We can either use it to blow ourselves up, or we can use it as a substitute for the coal and the oil which are running out.
You've even written a...
That's a pointed statement, isn't it? Yeah. So Aldous Huxley, the writer of Brave New World, and had this interview in 1958. It's very prophetic of what we are dealing with today. It's interesting to know that we have nuclear defenses, and since Trump became president, and he didn't know about the nuclear triad, so he didn't really know if we should update our infrastructure or not, but now that he's become president, he's said he's going to increase nuclear weapons. And Putin and China are also saying they're going to increase their nuclear weapons. So we're moving the opposite direction toward world peace. And because of that, we're now 30 seconds closer to the doomsday clock. They moved the doomsday clock 30 seconds because of Trump. Calling me a Nazi, that's pretty low. I'm a centrist. If anything, a progressive libertarian. That's the best way to describe me. I'm not a liberal per se, and I'm not a conservative per se. I think November might be male. November I thought was a female, but whatever. It doesn't matter. You don't have to be a gender here to be in the show. Okay, you take a snack. We'll be back. I am at the point where I'm more than willing to accept, the idea of Trump changing the name of Martin Luther King to Trump Day. He could do that. He could instigate another day just for, call it Ivanka Day. You never know what Trump's going to pull at this point. We have no idea. But, I'm really going to just roll with the flow here, go with the flow, roll with the blows. I handled 8 years of George W. Bush. I handled 8 years of the biggest lying, deceitful person on earth, Barack Obama, married to a transgender. I can handle Donald Trump and his love affair with the White House. He'll prove in 4 years he can't accomplish his goals, and he won't build a wall in 4 years. The whole thing is preposterous. Everything about his statements, billing Mexico for the wall. Where is he coming from? I am the reason why Vaughn grew rapidly, because I came in here from Blog TV. Blog TV was shut down and then completely sold out to a guy who did a movie called Chicken Hawk, which is about pedophiles, ironically. And I know a lot of you want to talk about Pizzagate, and we'll get to that in just a bit, but Blog TV was bought by this guy who did a movie on pedophiles. No one knows why. Was he paying back for a crime that he had committed? I mean, we are beginning to believe that the guy who took over YouNow and absorbed the Blog TV software patents, which were incredible, by the way. We could have interactive chat in the show. It was so cool. And now it's all gone because it's owned by a guy who had spent $5 million. No one knows where he got the money. Could have been federal money for all we know. But they tried to stop us 4 years ago and shut down the whole network we were on. We moved rapidly over to Vaughn, and now they've been, using every means possible to control that. It's going to be the only place in the country to talk about Pizzagate when I get done with this. I mean, here we are talking about Pizzagate, and you're not allowed to do that on Reddit or Twitter. I know. Blog TV's been shut down for nearly 5 years now. But bear in mind, we never got that software back. It was owned by a guy who created a movie called Chicken Hawk. So in honor of that, let's talk about Pizzagate. Yeah, lots of things are popping up about must-watch WikiLeaks Pizzagate. Story just gets better and better. There are things being knocked off the internet every single day. I caught a really good video last night. I'll be playing it for you. It starts out talking about Hillary and how she covered up for a rapist. And it goes on to talk about the whole Podesta emails and everything. Threaten the victims of rape. Yeah, these are people that have been threatened to not talk about Bill Clinton. Anyways, I'll play you the Pizzagate video at the start of our 10 o'clock hour. So we got a lot of time to kill here, but there's components in this that are emails were coming from the David Brock, the former gay boyfriend of the pizza place owned by the former gay boyfriend of David Brock. Emails were going out for the Hillary campaign staff. It's also a dive that, according to reviews and photos, hidden bathrooms and creepy murals. So this is what they've uncovered. This particular place called Comet Pizza has got all kinds of weird things going on. And there was a guy that uncovered a kill room just down the street, only a few stores away, under the Pegasus Museum, which is also owned by Alefantis, this person who claims to be the owner of. And all these things come under the heading of bizarre because even his name sounds very strange. No one understands how his name could even be associated with this thing. Let's go over here. Yeah, Boys Town never got shut down. Yep. The whole thing with the Franklin group in Nebraska. The FBI told the state police in Nebraska to stop looking into it. Stop investigating the Boys Town pedophilia ring. So the Nebraska State Police were told to stand down by the FBI. Isn't that weird? Okay. Yes, Google AdSense could be a fraud machine paying out millions daily in fraudulent clicks. Should this be investigated? Yeah, we need a lot of investigations. So let's start there. Let me get a few things going here. We got the jail Hillary, deport Obama, and dump Trump room. Part of the online rip. We're also reminding people we're going to give everybody in 2020 $400 a month to eliminate welfare and the stigma of welfare, and to help everybody who turns 18. $400 a month will get you started. I know you can only live in a tent. It's true, but it's definitely worth something more than poking the eye with a short stick, as my father used to say. Okay. Right. I didn't show all of this to everybody the other night, so I want to bring it up for you. Calling me gay because you think I look gay, that's sexual harassment. Yeah, you could be charged with a crime for that. Especially in the workplace. We're going to pull the renewable energy savings bonds. That was last night's discussion on Technology Thursday, so we'll pull that off. But we'll leave the $400 per month per U.S. adult citizen. Nobody has this plan in America. It's affordable. We can do this. It eliminates welfare. It won't give you extra money if you're already getting money like disability or Social Security income. But it'll help pick up the bottom row of people in America and give them something to work with. Okay, so take a look at this name. James Alefantis is an acronym. It's an anagram, actually. Somebody said it's an anagram for a French statement, which is J'aime des enfants. I think it's something, it means I love children, and that was what the name James Alefantis means. So I think the name's fake. I think this is a blast, just an amazing thing that the government should be investigating. Anyone who has a name that means I love children, is that a fake name? Of course it is. So yeah, we need to start investigating Pizzagate. So let's not forget that. Very important. The story of Hillary. Benghazi, nobody talks about her anymore. Nobody discusses it. Donald Trump doesn't want to pursue any investigation. All that effort to expose her, and he had every bit of concern for Hillary, and he really went out on the deep end, asking Russia for help to expose Hillary. He actually solicited Russia's help, which is like espionage. It's like you're soliciting Russia to hack emails And in the process, yeah, it's bizarre. I've got a clip of him doing that. Well, look at the name. Did you see it? You didn't see the name? Okay, I'll leave it on the line again for you. Apparently, you're upset by the mere thought of it. And some people are. Many of you are blocking the whole subject I just talked to you there. You're like, oh, I can't hear this. It's not negative. I don't hear it. Yeah, some people don't want to hear the truth. You can't handle the truth. You can't handle the truth. Yeah, just look at the name. It's clearly an anagram of the other name. Check it out. Yeah. In French, that means you love children. Okay, there. Time's up. You burn some shots on Cass. No, I don't drink. No. I'm not an alcohol. I don't do an alky thing. I don't believe in alcohol. I think it's a poison. Mad Dog, your status. What happened, man? They shut your mic off? Huh. I'm voice connected, but you've been shut off? So they're dismantling people from the room one by one? No kidding. Okay, Politics for Dummies says, not sure if Trump is behind this, but I'd also ads from sites that replicate the same scenario. Interesting. Fake news replicated in AdSense? Yeah, this is more about censorship. Google taking steps in tackling fake news, but there's clearly more to do. They're continuing to place ads on numerous fake news purveying sites despite its misrepresentative content policy. It's booted nearly 200 publishers, which is illegal. Yeah, this is just the beginning of the censorship of the New World Order. Welcome to the future of 1984 and Aldous Huxley and what he was talking about. I was going to say that it's amazing that we have nuclear weapons, but now Trump wants to add more to them. And why is it we want to pursue conventional wars anymore? I'm trying to figure out why we're pursuing conventional wars. We've been pursuing conventional wars because Henry Kissinger wanted us to. And because he's had so much power over every president, including Trump, we're still at war. You're French and it does not make sense to say that? Okay. Okay, let's make an adjustment. Hang on. We can do that. Yeah, look at this. Check this out. Yeah, this is really interesting. This is not what we're looking at. We're looking now at this. We have a French person in the room who would like to verify that. So it actually makes more sense there. Okay, there you have it. James Elefantes. There you go. It's perfect. It makes more sense this way, so yeah, we'll go with you. Thank you, French people. Man at Automatic Car Wash tries to get his door open quickly to pull a flyer off his windshield. Watch what happens. This is scary. You don't want to open your windshield in one of these automatic car wash. At the car wash, yeah. At the car wash. Here he is, trying to open up his door to pull that flyer off. He doesn't want that flyer. Bye, door. Yeah, it's always funny to laugh at people who are facing misfortune. Isn't that weird? It's a psychological flaw in human beings that they laugh when they're really shocked. I know. You're giving excuses for him, Dr. Meow. Are you friends with some of these pedos? You're not a pedo. I never accused you of one, but are you friends with some of these pedos? Okay. I don't know why you people give people like Elefantes all the cover he needs. But you are French. Oh, of course. Let's not talk about that. We all know what happened with some of the people that fled America when they were accused of pedophilia. They went to France. Okay, Trump is a stool pigeon? Really? He'll be taken out by impeachment and Pence. Wow, you got some hopeful thoughts there, 541. Good for you. Thinking right way to, yeah, impeachment, yeah. You need to go to my impeachment room. Let's come on in. Yeah, I'll work on the impeachment room right now. They actually fled to Belgium. All this. Oh, you're telling me all of the pedophiles? You know, pedos that are in France that fled to. Okay. I'm sorry. I went to the wrong room. Hold on. I'm not slandering you. I'm just trying to make you, aware that if you do have friends that are pedos, we need to know more about why you're defending, the whole idea of it. David, how do you plan to eliminate welfare when you've handed out $400 a month to every adult citizen? That would be around $720 billion. No. Blauschwert, a very good question. Guten Abend, Blauschwert. Das ist richtig. Aber es ist nicht sehr gut. No, I'm sorry, I'm speaking English. I'm sorry, I was going into German there for a second. The thing is, I don't have the ability to pay money out to more than 205 million people, which is closer to $560 billion. If everybody were to collect. Now, people on Social Security in their elder years, a large subset of the American people now, getting larger, the number I'll have to pay out will be smaller. Actually, in a few short years, over 65% of the population will be over 65 collecting Social Security. So the number really is smaller than that. So it's more like 40% of our population, 35 to 40% of our population are going to be drawing from the $400 per month. But when we get rid of welfare, we're going to save close to $200 billion or more. We'll give people ample time to get their cards. Everyone would get a BBT card. You'd even get $20 to spend just to get started. And then everyone in your family who's over 18 would qualify, and you'd all put your money together to pay your rent. Grandma wouldn't hold the entire check over your head. Everybody gets a piece of it, and then everyone learns responsibility in the process of putting money into the rent. It is eliminating welfare completely. And it's, the big thing about welfare is it won't be doled out anymore. Families will not get extra money for kids. We'll have a robust food program, like a Head Start program in all our schools, where kids can actually take home sack lunches for the weekend. We'll even it's all about low-cost food, not paying out kids money. People obviously are using the kid, $200 per kid, as an incentive to have more kids who collect more welfare. It completely gets rid of it. No, I'm dismantling welfare in the process of improving the opportunity in our economy for it to grow. Retail sector and service sector opportunities will increase. More money will be in the economy. It'll start to infuse capital into our capitalist economy. And ironically, it is an injection of social engineering, but it's also at the same time a way everybody can have money to spend. It's not welfare, no. It's welfare specifically is money given out to specific groups of people who are in need. Aid to dependent kids, all these extra funds that are going out right now. We don't have to give those out to people. It's an incentive for people to become addicts of that money. And you can collect it even if you're a Wall Street executive. You can pay for your the tips that you have parking your car. It'll be another way of doing it. Dave, what are your thoughts about the Goddard Tunnel satanic ritual? Good question. We have the ritual right here on tape, and we can even bring it in if you want to look at it. Yeah, it's kind of weird. When they put the Goddard Tunnel in, which happens to be the stop point where Hitler couldn't cross over into Europe to attack Britain, it turns out it's the place where they've actually, the elitists have built this massive underground facility. And they put out an incredibly weird event for all of us to look at, where, well, I'll show you the event. I'll just bits and pieces of it. This is weird. Many people think it's the New World Order or the Illuminati that are telling people they're going underground. I'm just going to give you a little clip of it. Watch this. Okay, that's weird enough. Let's fast forward. That's extremely weird. Not one of these people is fat, as you can see. There's no excess weight on any of these people. This implies they're dumping chemicals all over us. This is an indication of the chemicals that they're dropping on us. They're doing a performance art of all the things they're doing to us as the New World Order plan continues to play out. Then they show you their satanic ritualism. And they even bring out a Baphomet character, which is some sort of a half animal, half human. Here it is. This creature that is emanating is some sort of a weird, satanic. Okay, I've seen enough. You give the Swiss too much time on their hands, and you can definitely see their Illuminati aspects playing out. Remember, this is the heart of the ancient Nazi kingdom of the Third Reich. So, of course, they want the Fourth Reich. Rah, 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 rah. Okay. These people are snorting bath salts. No, I think they were just performance artists working for a small fee. You had tickets to this, but you couldn't make it because of the Ebola virus? Oh, I bet. Art is a diverse range of human activities in creating visual, auditory, and performing artifacts, expressing the author's imaginative or technical skill. Wow, that's the most reductionary view of art I've ever seen. I've never seen anything reduced down to just those words. I wouldn't doubt George Soros paid him. There's a lot of Russian and Hungarian mobsters that have a lot of money. And they can buy Putin, they can buy Trump. We're not really talking about anything other than the Illuminati here. The 13 families, the Council of 13 Families I talked about last night. That's the reason why our government won't use the Logan Act against Donald Trump, even though he has violated it. You know, wishing Russia to get involved in espionage and getting emails has been a gross violation of our laws, as well as talking to Russia in advance of the campaign and the election. That was a breach of the Logan Act. And I will actually show you that clip of Trump soliciting people.
Nothing to do with Putin. I've never spoken to him. I don't know anything about him other than he will respect me. He doesn't respect our president. And if it is Russia, which is probably not, what do I have to get involved with Putin for? I have nothing to do with Putin. I've never spoken to him. I don't know anything about him other than he will respect me. He doesn't respect our president. And if it is Russia, which is probably not, nobody knows who it is, but if it is Russia, it's really bad for a different reason, because it shows how little respect they have for our country when they would hack into a major party and get everything. But it would be interesting to see. I will tell you this. Russia, if you're listening, I hope you're able to find the 30,000 emails that are missing. I think you will probably be rewarded mightily by our press.
Okay, there you have it. Yeah, that's it. So asking Russia to commit espionage. That's a fact, Jack. You can't hide the truth. So he wanted Russia to hack in, and we know now that Russia did hack the election, but our government doesn't seem to want to impose the Logan Act or in any way interrupt the flow of Donald Trump's takeover with Russia's help of our country. So I really believe that even sarcastic quips where they're asking Russia to hack into our election, that's indicting of him. It's implicating that he has connections or wants connections to go forward with Russia in the election. I know for a fact that Donald Trump's family knows the Putins. I know for a fact that Ivanka actually went out and visited Putin's girlfriend. Yeah, in August. So if he said he's never talking to Putin, and he was actually on camera saying he does know Putin. He lied about that. Ivanka Trump was actually on record partying with the female who Putin is dating, a girlfriend of his. So here's the link to the Ivanka Deng connection. If you want to check that out, it is pretty indicting. So yeah, there's ample proof that he knows the Putin family. Even Ivanka is hanging with his girlfriend way back in August, after that clip was said. Right? Actually, before the clip was said. No, we're not pushing fake news. So that's true. So Ivanka Trump's vacationing with Putin's girlfriend, basically Rupert Murdoch's ex-wife, Wendy Deng Murdoch. That's who Putin is dating. So there you have it. You'll know more about Russia, some of you Trump-tards, because Russia's taking over our country right now. They're working through side deals with Russian mobsters to try to negotiate with the Trump enterprises. That's what I think is going on. I really do. And you're going to see Donald Jr. and Eric make a few deals down there with condos in Florida pretty soon. Yeah, this is what you asked for, and you won't even insist that he puts his stuff in a public trust. So the American people are totally worthless when it comes to, saying anything and getting anything done. We don't have a voice in government. We just don't. There's nobody out there saying, yeah, we want to see this president put his stuff in a public trust. There's not one person in this country except for me saying it. That's how completely inert and emasculated and castrated the American people are. Yeah. Isn't that great to feel powerless? Well, right now, the people's agenda is my agenda. Trump has done everything I said we should do. So you guys think, oh, he's doing such a good job. Yeah, he's doing everything I said we should do. So yeah, he's following my agenda. The Zionists want to own our country. They don't own it yet. That's what Trump's all about. Trump is a Zionist. He's going to try to sell our country lock, stock, and barrel to the Zionists. Not only am I way more aware than most of you people of the situations that are going on in the inner functioning of our government. Thank you. I am actually keenly aware of things that you can't even imagine are going on. Like the simple dumping of chemicals on your head.
Well, I think mostly I'm still in bonds, government bonds. Maybe I missed the market. But I saw a very intelligent man that you had on television as you have.
So they're literally trying to, the Rothschilds are trying to poison our environment. And instead of creating more water, which is what we should all be focusing on, they're treating us like cattle and dumping us with chemicals on our heads. Dumping on our heads with chemicals. Let me try giving you a little taste of the chemical dump that's going on a daily basis. Here's blood coming from chemtrails. Blood. Dropping back what appears to be tainted blood on a population. What do you do with the blood? Well, you drop it on the people. Look at this chemtrail right there. Let me cue it up for the blood. There it is. They're breathing underground filtered air. Most of them are living underground right now. As they dump and kill off the human population, they live in luxury, absolute luxury underground. Yeah, let me give you that loop to look at. So instead of creating fresh water, which they should be doing, they're just dumping chemicals and blood in the skies that are tainted with God knows what. For all I know, it's Ebola rabies. It was nice music from Dune 2000. Okay, so what... Right. I believe this is a bizarre world, I know. Let me take you to a site called Terra Vivos. And you can check it out yourself. It's a site dedicated to underground living. And you're saying, well, what do they breathe? What do the rich people breathe? I don't understand why they would be dumping chemicals on my head. Let me take you on a short journey into Terra Vivos.
In recent years, interest in disaster scenario solutions has grown. There is no question that the world is an increasingly dangerous place. The evening news daily features threats of riots, pandemics, economic collapse, increasingly deadly weather, international tensions, wars, and rumors of war. From CEOs to politicians to Hollywood's top movie stars.
Virtually every other billionaire on the planet has one. We've talked to their top-level security guys. Now ask yourself, are they crazy? Are they just cautious?
If they are crazy, why were millions of dollars spent in 2012 on a new hardened bunker beneath the White House? Why are America's wealthy said to be digging massive underground shelters?
Okay, so look at all the underground shelters they've got around Washington. So why would they not want to create water and instead dump chemicals on your head? And where are they living? And who are they? Well, they are the ultra-rich, the Rothschilds and others, who have money beyond your wildest imagination. They have trillions of dollars. They make Trump look like a pauper. He has no money compared to these people. And they could hire and choose people like Trump at a moment's notice. Yeah, they can take out, they have such power they can actually take people out who say anything against them. Like, remember when Carrie Fisher said that Donald Trump looked like a coke addict? And she knew because she was one? Yeah. Well, Carrie Fisher is no longer alive. Isn't that interesting? She's dead. She said he was a coke addict. Yeah, I have never said he's a coke addict, so. Well, isn't it interesting how she's dead and they don't even know what caused her death? Yeah. No, I don't ban people and mute people for any other reason than you're trying to slander me and trying to denigrate me and trying to rip into my show. I'm surprised that you're even coming in here doing that when you failed for all these years. Now, Kim.com is going to reboot the Mega Upload half a decade after FBI shut it down. This guy's got money up the yin-yang. Check out his website, Kim.com. He likes to brag about all the money he has. Look at this. These people don't care about you or I. They just care about money. Kim, you're better get your tech guy to fix your video. It's not working. Okay, all right. So Kim.com is trying to continue his reign of terror over the file-sharing mogul, still fighting against extradition to the U.S. Dave's blocked. I've been blocked in almost 35 countries. Have you bought milk since 2003? There's a URL somebody's... By the way, dude, you cannot see URLs from guests here. This is what we see. Just so you know. Got milk since 2003? Go to removed URL. There's a lawsuit. Yeah, you can make class action lawsuit. Get your money. So we don't know what that link is, but maybe you should look into it. Yeah, so we don't see your links, guests, when you post here. You saw a reporter calling Madonna a senior citizen? Yeah. And you've been banned in 35 shows on Vaughn. Wow. Rodney can't get into the show because he's violated my terms of service. Yeah, we don't even allow him to call us anymore. I am a senior, yeah. I'm 56 years old. And I'm proud of the fact that I'm a senior. I can collect a discount at the restaurants now. I can get a cup of really good Starbucks coffee for $1.29 because I'm over 50. Isn't that great? Yeah, he never really had any help here. He was just, attacking our show. I don't want him in the show anymore. I don't want duct tape in here anymore. I'm adding duct tape to my permaban list. No one will see him here anymore. Sorry. Well, I think it's good coffee. I like to dilute it down. I like the Starbucks coffee at half strength. So when I go to Starbucks, there's a little technique I use. I get a venti with one shot. It's like, venti with one shot, please, Americano.
Yeah, it was really awesome, dude. I could probably do that voice every day. Living large, man. Living large.
It's not like he has any special voice. Yeah. Well, it is very strong. So, I can't drink 2 shots of Starbucks and walk normally. I start to do a jig. I start to act pretty funky and weird. Yeah, it's just too much coffee at one time. Well, I can't handle it, Stu, okay? I can't handle 2 shots. I start to do a little song and dance. It's not my fault.
Yeah, it's close to lurch. You rag.
Now, the Vatican's working on a new way of getting money from people. They have developed a magnetic tool that attracts money from their pockets. And I believe it'll be chosen from other different sourced religious organizations that are going to be accessing this. It's being applied in Iran right now when people kneel down to the north and self-flagellate. They lose track of their pocketbooks, and all of a sudden, the money lifts into the air magically. Yeah. Fascinating power. No, tomorrow is Make Love Not War. That's an anti-war rally that we have together. If you encounter any BS tonight, we will raise the BS flag, so don't worry. We're not going to limit the views or interest here. So what do you think? The people really are living underground here. Strange. I can't hear them. Well, let's be clear. We're going to get rid of the red chemtrails, the water, and the underground survival channel. And we'll keep the BS flag. No, we're done with the BS flag. Stu is sending mixed message. Why not live underground? There are several advantages. Why live underground? Why not live? Yeah, well, living underground gives you the ability to avoid... Yeah, I don't own Dave.com, but thank you. Coming soon. Yep. It gives you the ability to avoid the radiation that all of us are encountering right now from Fukushima. Like the cesium-137 that's flying by our heads and zapping us. And how many times have you been hit with gamma rays? You don't know, do you? You could be suffering from gamma rayitis. But the fact is they're avoiding all that scatter radiation that we're all getting, affecting our gonads. Jesus, why do I live like this? Yeah, well, the chemtrail was designed to be Trump colored. It was an orange chemtrail. Your gonads, yeah, they're being fried. You want to have kids. Your kids want to have kids. Downstream, you're looking at small mutations, people without faces. Yeah. That's the problem with the radiation. So that's why the elitists are living underground right now while they fry the earth. You're right above the ground, no doubt. You're probably a surface dweller. Okay, well, many of you don't have the luxury of being like Evelyn Rothschild. Sir Evelyn de Rothschild. He's just a guy who's the Rothschild family made up their name. They were called Boers. They were really the most deceitful people ever, and they were given the status of court Jews in the 1500s to handle the money for the Jewish royalty. They aren't even really Jewish. Does it even matter? I'm trying to find the best in the worst. You know, the good thing is they really don't give a crap about you. That's the good thing. So when you turn on them and eliminate their power over the world by voting for a third party and begin detangling their connections to our government, the good news is they lose. The Knights Templar, all the Masons that are at the upper tier of the Masons, because there's a lot of good Masons at the lower tier, they lose. You know, getting an honest man in the government of America, like JFK, will actually begin to separate their control and detangle themselves from the connections that they have with our government. Our government is no longer a free and independent organization with checks and balances. It is completely bought and sold. And under the current leadership of Mr. Greed himself, it's even more bought and sold. Look at the swamp he created. We have a threat of Zionism and Putin. Believe me, Putin is just as Zionistic as Donald Trump. Everything about Putin tells me that he's got connections to the Zionist Russian mobs. Doesn't tell me he's not a Zionist. In no way is Putin necessarily against the New World Order, too. He may just be controlled opposition. You may think Putin is standing against the New World Order. That's only to entice you to become a commie. Like many of you Trump supporters are becoming commies right now. I don't think Ivanka has a nude pic. And like I said, you cannot post any links here. This is what we see on the screen, man. This is it. Ivanka nude pic release, removed URL. Yeah, we can't see anything. The erection is rigid. No, the election is rigged. You've got a spelling error here. No, the election is rigged. Close, though. Whew. Trump's a fresh puppet, yeah. That's right. Correct spelling is the erection is rigid. The election is rigged. You'll be learning spelling a little bit later when Sarah comes in for my break, in which I tune into the Nirvana modality. I put my headset on, I just go, yeah, I'm totally forgetting about the stress of the day. I'm going to fix America. I really have a plan. Hey, we have a book that is available on our website. It's called Hybrid Capitalism, and you can actually download it for 99 cents. If you're wondering when will the American people come up with a plan, that's the plan. Let me bring you a picture of it. I will be running in 2020, yeah. That's the goal. I've been it's a 12-year plan. I started in 2008 running for president, and I put together an online presence immediately. Yeah, decompress, exactly. I put an online presence together in 2008, immediately, scrambling because I knew that Barack Obama was a liar, and as a Democrat, or former Democrat, I had to do something. So I came up with a brand new plan in 2008 to create America's third party. I'd actually been working 2 or 3 years prior to this on a political choice that I scrubbed the concept, but it's still out there. It's called Cool Rock, and it was the Cool Rock Party. But I came up with this concept of building a political movement, and based on solid centrist principles. Here I am in 2008.
Hi, good morning. As you can see, I'm still wearing the shirt I wore last night and yesterday at Blog TV. It's exhilarating to do Blog TV. We've been having an incredible time. This is in fact day 54. I thought yesterday was day 54, but we did a recount, and we determined that today is day 54 as we approach the election. And as your potential write-in candidate, David John Sponheim, I'm here to show you my hybrid electric vehicle. It's not a plug-in hybrid. That's something I want to build at the U.S. Auto Corporation that I want you, the people, to own. Check out this vehicle. Isn't that a beautiful car?
Yeah, it looks identical to what it is today. I'm in a studio now. Yeah, I look a little bit younger now because I'm in a studio. That's the reason. It's nothing to do with the fact that I was replaced and I'm a three-dimensional image, holographic in nature. That's aside from the point. It is the baby spray. Yeah, I have these fruit enzymes that come into my show. I spray this bottle of Michel Dermaceuticals on my face. It's a fruit enzyme spray. Oh man, it's so refreshing. I can't tell you how refreshing that is. Dave, look at the immigrant in training. What? David, I saw your pic on a Blog TV tribute on YouTube by Encrypted. Okay, cool. It's not jizz. Thanks for asking. It's fruit enzyme. I'll get you the link in just a second. I can't believe you would say that. Well, let's be clear. Michel, ma belle, don't say très I love you, I love you, I love you. Da, 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 da. So Michel Dermaceuticals is a website that many of you French people would like to see. They sell the fruit enzyme spray. Let's see the fruit enzyme here. It's pretty cool. I like it a lot. Yeah, everybody, Trump needs to calm down. Here is the fruit enzyme hydrating mist. It instantly revitalizes and enhances moisture to diminish the appearance of fine lines due to dryness. And it has many other options. $22. Jeez, they've gone up in price. That's a rip-off. It is true that Trump is going to never gray. Yeah, are you still fixating on the Zionist thing, Blauschwert? You know who you remind me of? You remind me of Melko. And you know, I banned him, perma-banned him. We're going to ignore your conversation. The back tire of these panels pop off. That's a funny little story. The back panels have screws right down here and right down here. Right there and right there. And the plastic screws that are this big are $35. So if you lose them on the road, you're screwed. Pun intended. So, $35 a screw. I know. I don't think it's cheesy at all. It cuts back on wind resistance. It's really cool. But what I do is I use zip ties. $35, I know. Can you believe that? I said, you know, I'm going to get some zip ties. So I just use zip ties on those things. And I just keep a few zip ties if I have to zip it up and pull them off for a tire change. We've been on 3 road trips with this across the country, and we paid for it in the money we saved when gas was like $5 a gallon. Yeah, it's great. I didn't lose a screw at the side of the road, no. But I can tell you that these things do pop out. And for $35 for a plastic screw at Honda is forget it. Somebody says, are you Mike Rowe?
You know, a lot of people are saying that, you know, I basically could be Mike Rowe. Yeah. The thing is, I don't stick my head in a gutter and start working like you do. Yeah. Unlike Mike Rowe, and I won't take tough, really, really hard jobs. I'm like the soft version of Mike Rowe. Yeah. I won't put my head in an engine while it's running and diesel fumes blowing in my face. I don't want to die of lung cancer, you know? And consequently, I got a better complexion than Mike Rowe, too. Yeah. That's right. I don't breathe fumes every day.
You like the Dirty Job show? Well, lucky for me, I'm not a millionaire. It would be incredibly insulting to call me a millionaire. The last thing you'd want to do is call me a millionaire. I mean, how many people would think that I have a mere $1 million? Sorry. I'm working on characters. It's character development. Mad Dog got kicked out of the room, so we got people who have been knocked off the chat room over there. They're actually controlling the chat room. I don't know if Larry's in there or not, but they've knocked people off the voice. Yeah, it's weird. Mad Dog couldn't get the voice going in there. You need to gel that hair and click it back. Gel that hair and click it back.
Yes, 1, 2, 1, 2.
You're alive? Okay, Larry's in. Okay, good, Mad Dog. You're in now.
Sarah unmuted you.
I muted him? I didn't mute him.
Thank you, Sarah.
I've not been able to get the Trump one down. I've got to put my mouth in this area. Mike Rowe once did your job, huh?
I think I did.
What, did you get your knob polished or something? It was a good Lord Jacob Rothschild impression. Many of you people wouldn't even recognize Lord Jacob Rothschild. Can you imagine me being Lord Jacob Rothschild? I can't.
No.
Like with facial recognition changes.
Maybe.
You got to get your mouth. First of all, you have to look like you've been drinking nonstop all day long.
Why don't you pull up Lord Jacob Rothschild and put it over your face like you do with all those other pictures?
Okay. Here we go. Lord Jacob Rothschild.
Maybe you do look like him and you don't realize it.
I do, because obviously if I were him,
Rothschild,
he would be me.
You gotta go look.
It's really not a problem with facial recognition, Sarah. Anything's possible.
He kind of looks like a what does he look like? He just looks like, I don't know, never mind.
I believe we have a match. I'm a facial contortionist.
Maybe you look more like David Rothschild.
Oh, don't be ridiculous. Oh, stop telling me I can't have bonbons. If I want bonbons, I'll eat them all day. Get the hell out of my jacuzzi. Pretty good. David Lee Rothschild. I was just showing people my car, or your car. You have a new one. In fact, we bought her an old, used, new car. I call these new cars because they're new and old. But I like these so much, I bought Sarah one 2 years ago for her birthday.
Yeah, that was awesome.
And I don't know how we're going to actually make up for that one. Well, we might get you a better car. Who knows? Someday. But that's a pretty good car. That's a keeper, I'll tell you. Well, let's be clear.
It's a keeper.
It's a keeper. Mine has 5-speed transmission, and hers has a CVT transmission. And it's much easier because she doesn't drive a stick shift. Mine is... Hers looks like this one. This is her car. That's not her in it, but that's her car. And it looks brand new, pretty much. So we bought these things used at 15 years old, 14 years old. I bought mine at 6 years old. And I ended up putting new battery packs in both of them last year. Sarah had put her battery pack in hers, and I put mine in mine.
Blauschritt, very good point. Oh, I got rid of that Beamer. It didn't even run when I bought it. What was I thinking?
I know, she bought a car that didn't run.
What was I thinking? I was a stupid idiot.
No, don't say it. Don't ever say that. But no.
Oh, you got it on film. No,
you weren't. The fact of the matter is, we believe the BMW was a hell of a deal at $750. It was a 740 version, and it was really, really nice. It was like a 98 740 for $750, but it didn't quite run.
No, David told me not to buy it.
Yeah, but that's okay. It happens. So water really is the central point theme of my concept for the world and for America. And fresh water, there's nothing better than fresh water, really. So we're going to bring in the water here for all of you to look at. All right. I will check out for a while. Sarah can come in, give me a break. I'm going to take a bathroom break, and I'll be back. Thank you.
Water is what it's all about.
Yeah, and I'll play that Bruce Lee thing later.
I mean, what river this is. The source of... You want me to consider unbanning duct tape, huh? What does that even mean? Okay, trivia. You want some trivia? Oh, yes. I didn't know David banned duct tape. What did duct tape ever do to David? Anything else? Alright. Free duct tape for all. I know, much loved curmudgeon. That was funny. I know. Then I'll give some credence to David, huh? Alright. American history up to 1865. The era between the first permanent English settlements in North America in the early 1600s and the signing of the Declaration of Independence in 1776 is called the colonial period. America's desire for independence from Britain led to the Revolutionary War, or American Revolution. Because I like electricity and I like driving my car, and I also think that transporting by pipeline is more efficient and environmentally sound than transporting by big rig or boat. The fighting phase of the war lasted from 1775 to the Battle of Yorktown in 1781. The Treaty of Paris, 1783, concluded the war with British recognition of American independence. During the 1780s, the new nation struggled to develop suitable political institutions. In 1787, a convention met in Philadelphia and framed the Constitution, a document designed to provide a stronger central government than that provided by the Articles of Confederation. The states ratified the Constitution in 1788. Yeah, 1787 is when they met to talk about the Constitution. Hello, 352. Thank you. Political divisions arose during the presidency of George Washington from 1789 to 1797 between the followers of Alexander Hamilton, called the Federalist Party, and those of Thomas Jefferson, known as the Democratic-Republican Party. It wasn't Democrats and Republicans at the time. They were all one party. These divisions continued during the presidency of Thomas Jefferson, 1801 to 1809, whose achievements included the Louisiana Purchase in 1803, and that of James Madison, 1809 to 1817. The War of 1812 between the British and United States severely damaged the Federalist Party, which collapsed as a force in national politics. The years 1816 to 1824, called the Era of Good Feeling, were marked by diminishing political divisions. The Era of Good Feeling. Ooh, I would like that. During the late 1820s and 1890s, political conflict resurfaced as new parties, the Whigs and the Democratic Party, clashed over a variety of issues. Although both parties developed national followings during the presidency of Andrew Jackson, 1829 to 1837, each was vulnerable to disruption between its northern and southern wings over the issue of slavery in the South. Already evident in the struggle over the Missouri Compromise, which was in 1820, sectional conflict between the North and the South was sparked anew by the Mexican War. The Mexican War was 1846 to 1848. It exploded in the 1850s. During the 1850s, the Whig Party collapsed in the North and was replaced by the Republican Party. 1850s. All right. A purely sectional party. The Democratic Party split into northern and southern wings in 1860. The election of the first Republican president, Abraham Lincoln, in 1860 provoked the succession of the southern states and led to the outbreak of the Civil War from 1861 to 1865. It was only a 4-year war. Wow. Good to know. Women did not have the right to vote at the time. Kids were sent to mines. There were slaves everywhere. That's our values, the USA values. It's pretty crazy. The Civil War resulted in a victory for the North and in the destruction of slavery and in the destruction of slavery as an institution. Relearning it is blowing your mind, man. All right. What is the term for the belief that slavery could be ended? They didn't say that there weren't slaves in all the states, Mad Dog. They just said that there was divisions between the South and the North, northern sects. Well, you have it somewhat correct. 400 abolished. Abolition 154 has it correct. The belief that slavery should be abolished in the early 19th century, increasing numbers of people in the northern United States held that the nation's slaves should be freed immediately, without compensation to slave owners. John Brown, Frederick W. Douglass, William Lord Garrison, Sojourner Truth, and Harriet Tubman were well-known abolitionists. Abolitionism in the United States was an important factor leading to the Civil War. Alright, you don't like member chat? That's fine. I am. Sarah likes her new book. Who was the political leader of the late 18th century and early 19th centuries? He was one of our founding fathers. With the abolition, boosted the production of hemp ropes by 100%. Wow. Because they all needed it for their boats, right? Good to hear for someone. I wish that were the case with me. I'm just kidding. All right. Adams was... Oh, wait. I already gave you the answer. He was a signer of the Declaration of Independence, second president from 1797 to 1804 after George Washington. This gentleman and Washington were the only presidents from the Federalist Party. His presidency was marked by diplomatic challenges in which he avoided war with France. The Alien and Sedition Acts were passed while he was president. Oh, 418 has it correct. John Adams. Nice job. Oh, nice to hear, 471. I'm sure you'll make some woman very happy. Quartering requires horses. It's just not the same thing with 4 trucks. What do I win? You win my... Congratulations. Here you go. Nice job. I have heard John Adams is a beer in Canada. $15 miles per hour? It doesn't go 15 miles per hour. It goes much faster than that the Insight does. You've made thousands of women very happy. Then never mind. You wouldn't make any woman happy with that statement. They would want you all to themselves. They wouldn't want to share. They'd be like, what kind of diseases are you carrying? Doctors and clinics, maybe. All right, who was a political leader of the early 19th century? He was the son of John Adams, so that should be an easy one. And he was president of the United States from 1825 to 1829. He came between James Monroe and Andrew Jackson. Yes, John Quincy Adams. Good job. Exam. John Quincy Adams. The defeat of the scholarly Adams by the uneducated Jackson in the presidential election of 1828 is considered a turning point in this journey toward democracy in American politics. Jackson was uneducated. Wow, I didn't know that about Andrew Jackson. Oh my God, I got I got one right. Yay! Good job. All right. This guy, the next guy, there's a beer named after him. A political leader at the time of the American Revolutionary War, from the time of the Stamp Act to the Declaration of Independence, he was the most effective organizer in Massachusetts of opposition to British rule. He was a brewer, so that's why there's a beer named after him. And he was a cousin of John Adams. Samuel Adams is correct. Good job, 400. You get out the moonshine if anyone can answer this. Oh, you said Adams? Well, Adams was not enough because there was John Adams, John Quincy Adams, and Samuel Adams. So, half a point for Ad Dog. Good job. All right. What was a fort? This is a place. Was I homeschooled? No. I did go to private school from kindergarten through 2nd grade. And for 2 weeks in 4th grade. 3rd grade? 4th grade. Nobody. 448. Sorry. This was a place. It was a fort. It once was a chapel. It was in San Antonio, Texas. It's where a group of Americans made a heroic stand against a much, yes, 418 is correct, a much larger Mexican force in 1836 during the War for Texan independence from Mexico. The Mexicans, under General Santa Anna, besieged the Alamo and eventually killed all the defenders, including Davy Crockett.
Yeah.
Rallying under the cry, "Remember the Alamo," Texans later forced the Mexicans to recognize the independent Republic of Texas.
Yep, remember the Alamo.
The basement of the Alamo is glorious. I have not been there.
They took out Davy Crockett.
I know the wall did not work for the Alamo. All right. Is that enough?
Hey, I wanted to show you the clip with Melania. I was telling you about this earlier. We found that this is a real clip. This really happened at the inaugural day with Melania. I'm going to show it to you all.
And it started to rain, Mr. President, when you came to the platform. And it's my prayer that God will bless you, your family, your administration, and...
Look at Melania. He turns to her and says something.
And it's...
Look at this. Watch what happens.
My prayer that God will bless
Look at her face.
you, your family,
Look at her face.
your administration.
Look at his face, all smug.
Yeah, look what happened there. It's just bizarre. We don't know why she had such a sour face on her face. At first, we thought it was fake video. Somehow, it was being
She started
altered.
out.
No, it was.
happy.
It turns out it's not reverse video, folks. Let me get you the link to it.
Something about rain. I don't know.
You can see in the background, the context of the video. The man is speaking in real time, and it really is going on. Check it out for yourself, everybody. Yeah, you can be the decision here. It's not. We're not saying anything other than look at that video. Yeah, it's bizarre. Her expression is so dejected. It's just really indicative of something very negative. And I'm sorry to say, but I think Trump is lying to everybody.
Oh, that's weird. Tacos and cats.
I don't want to look at that.
Too weird.
A little too much information on that one.
Too much.
Hey,
I don't like those.
Don't come in here and ever say negative things about Jewish people. You know, that's just wrong. We need to thank the Jewish people for all the work that they do to be good doctors and lawyers. And you know, without Jewish people, we wouldn't have any doctors or lawyers. We'd have a bunch of goyim out there going, I don't know, try an aspirin. So yeah, Trump, something's wrong with him. He seems to be, well, everyone knew he was a womanizer. Throughout history, he was known as the womanizer. So when those women claimed he groped them. Okay, Dave, Mall Cop says, I have audio of what he said, but I'm not withholding it. I want 2 Hershey candy bars. It's not going to happen. You can't in any way blackmail us. I'm not viable. Hey, thanks, Nielsen Company. CCO, the Nielsens are here. Keep up the good work, Dave. Thank you. We have a viewership of close to 150 million on average now. And Sarah still doesn't believe it. She's just refusing to believe it.
Nope. Sorry.
But the CCO of Nielsen is in here watching. I think 200 million on average watch every night, yeah. And they tell people about us, which helps a lot. It really has helped. Nielsen Company says, you're welcome, sir. We have you pegged at 200 million tonight. Thank you. When are we going to convince Sarah that this is a real statistic? I mean, I don't know how we get probably more than that. She just doesn't want to believe that we're being seen by millions of people, even though there is UHF transmissions going on all around the world of our show. It's just frustrating, but eventually she'll come around. I'm sure she will. It takes time. Not many people, we weren't destined for this. Well, maybe we were, but it takes time to actually get people to understand the answers right in front of their face. Here's a young man who decided to use his 4x4 as a way of doing math. He added it to the back of his 4x4. He is addicted to math. He cannot stop adding and subtracting and multiplying. He's a mathaholic. Sarah, don't laugh. Millions are watching. LMFO, we see you're laughing. Good night. Thank you. Just want to let you know that we might have a proposition for you as long as these phenomenal ratings hold. Good night. Thank you.
Good to know it. You've got his phone number.
Sarah still
email.
doesn't believe that these ratings are holding. It's amazing. So, Sarah, you're embracing certain aspects of Common Core as a teacher, and
common sense.
And common sense. But when you look at how many people are beginning to think that Common Core is
Good night.
Too much government, too much federal oversight over state-run education, what is your take?
Yeah, Potato Girl.
Yes, here's the link. I have it right here in memory. There it is, Potato Girl.
Good night, Dave. Good night, Sarah.
Well, good night, Mad
Good
Dog.
night, Mad Dog.
Sleep well, man.
Take care.
Thanks for coming in. It's kind of a group session we have here. Discord is kind of cool.
Ready to go to sleep.
Well, you're about ready for a break. Thank you so much. I'm going to give you the early rest that you need. You've been a very big help reading, giving people cultural literacy, talking about America. Millions around the world know more about America because of you, Sarah. Think about it.
Yeah.
Truly amazing.
Little by little.
Yeah. Slowly giving them intelligent information about the future,
not sleeping.
the past. Okay. I guess there's some news that I have to talk about. Obviously, silver is doing better today in today's market, so if you like silver, you may want to reinvest. It seems to be popping, very buoyant. It went up above 17 today. Gold is still kind of lingering under 1,200, and the Dow Jones took a little dip today, but still over 20,000. Okay, here's the deal that Trump is using following my other plan, the no refugee plan, and he's barring refugees and citizens of 7 Muslim countries. That's what my plan was, so he's just following up on my plan. It was never about Muslims with me. Thank you, Mall Cop. I appreciate it. Whatever this is a big part of my doing. I'm the guy who carried the torch for America's Third Party through all these years. Sarah's been a big help, though.
I think the women that marched in 1913 were essential in getting the women the right to vote, bringing a light to the women's rights issue.
Yes, 436 just said. Guess 436 just said he hasn't stolen any of your recipes for cooking, Dave. So don't worry. Good point. Thank you. That number's not wrong. 7 Muslim countries, yeah. That he's really focusing on the ones that are problematic, I think. Look, we had the no refugee plan in 2010, and we kept pushing for cutting back on illegal aliens in our country. But we never targeted Muslims. We never called them out like Donald Trump did. So he walked into a minefield, a political minefield, with his mouth. Thank you. Hey, thanks for coming in, sir. Get some rest. I'll be in a little later. Maybe watch a little bit of a movie if you happen to have anything in mind.
Okay.
Or just get some sleep. You've been working hard. This is one of the toughest weeks for Sarah. Friday's always been, super. She really puts herself into her job, so it gives her a lot of rest points she has to catch up on. No, I had to give her time to leave. She is very helpful, giving me 45 minutes to an hour every night. My hair is fixed, man. People are saying this is the fresh look. There's the dry look, and then there's the fresh look. This is the fresh look. Freshly washed. Kind of like I just stuck my head in the water there, and I rinsed it off, and it air dried in the sun. The irony is I grew up in an area, my summer times were spent in an area just like this, Yosemite. At least some of my summers. And I really got to know what real fresh water is all about when you take a 10-mile hike and you're limited on how much water you have. By the end of the trip, most of your water bottles are emptied just from all that hot sun baking on you. And you end up getting that urge for water like no other. And I'll never forget one of the hikes that I was on. It was actually on the East Coast. Mount Katahdin. At the base of Mount Katahdin in the state of Maine, I saw this amazing freshwater stream that was all pure water. And everyone said, oh yeah, you can drink from that. And I'll never forget that long hike. It's like a 7-mile hike. And getting to that freshwater stream and splashing that water in my face was just incredible. And if you've never gone without water for a while and gotten near water, water is the most incredible thing ever. And our bodies are mostly made of water. I know that sounds cliche, but the American people have a common need for fresh water, just like people of Africa, people of China. So water really can unite the world. And it's amazing to me that the elitists haven't figured this out, that this is the most important thing right now. Not getting rid of the population, not putting toxic crap in the air with chemtrails, not destroying our atmosphere or our environment, but rather fixing it and getting more fresh water. I mean, it's simple. It's a simple thing. It's good vibrations. It makes you feel good. So I have a song that I play in the evenings that gives me a kind of a motivation to keep going. And it's a rap piece, or it's a hip-hop piece that was put together, a mix, from the statement that Bruce Lee made the legendary karate or kung fu expert, Bruce Lee. And it's really cool. I'm going to play it for you and get you motivated, and we'll continue the show all the way to the top of the hour and then beyond.
It is like a finger pointing away to the moon. Don't concentrate on the finger or you will miss all that heavenly glory. Empty your mind, be formless, shapeless, like water, water, like water, like water. Water can flow or it can crash. Be water, my friend. Empty your mind, be formless, shapeless, like water. Water can flow or it can crash. Empty your mind, be formless, shapeless, like water. Be water, my friend. Running water never goes stale, so you gotta just keep on flowing, keep on flowing. So you gotta just keep on flowing. So you gotta just keep on flowing. You have to train. You have to keep your reflexes so that when you want it, it's there. When you want to move, you're moving. I mean, you gotta put the whole hip into it. Snap, snap, become one with her. You better train every part of your body. I mean, you gotta put the whole hip into it. Snap, snap. You better train, become one with her. You better train every part of your running water never goes stale, so you gotta just keep on flowing, keep on flowing. So you gotta just keep on flowing, just keep on flowing. Under the sky, under the heaven, there is but one family. Do not believe in styles. Styles separate man. It's a process of continuing growth, process of continuing. Empty your mind, be formless, shapeless, like water. Water can flow, or it can crash. Empty your mind, be formless, shapeless, like water. Be water, my friend.
Wasn't that cool? Yeah. Yeah, this song is definitely Bruce Lee's final mix. He wasn't around when that happened, but he used these amazing communication skills to convey how intense his studies were. Most people don't realize this, but Bruce Lee was brilliant. He was absolutely brilliant. He read all the great works. Yeah, he was a very intelligent man. And some people think he was killed. Some people think he was given some poisonous root or marijuana of some sort, but it wasn't marijuana. It was some odd thing like salvia or something. No, I don't think Steven Seagal is up there with Bruce Lee. I'm sorry. I know people who've actually encountered Steven Seagal on the set in Hollywood, and one of the senseis that worked in a dojo that I was privy to actually met him full force and said, "Hey, you think you're tough? Let's see what you got." And Steven Seagal got his ass kicked. So I really don't think that you can believe everything you see in movies, but I can tell you that, yeah, Bruce Lee was the real deal. Yeah, Steven Seagal's let himself go. I mean, he's so overweight, it's ridiculous. He may be an Aikido black belt, but anybody could be an Aikido black belt. It's one of the lowest stress martial arts there is. If you study Hapkido, it's the art of moving with the other's flow and then directing it back at them. A lot of finger twisting and breaking of arms, where you use their energy against them. But yeah, I'm sure he could kick anybody's ass, Seagal. He's an amazing guy, and he's done some amazing martial arts, but nobody's perfect, you know. But Bruce Lee was as close to perfect as we'll ever see in martial arts. He could do it all. Yeah. He was the Muhammad Ali of martial arts, in my opinion. Yes. Bruce Lee created Jeet Kune Do. You know, I just don't know if the the discussion that Trump has been having about winning the popular vote, even though experts say he didn't, is making any traction at all. One statistician claimed that he claimed that 885,000 people were illegal and they voted for Hillary. Even with that number, it's clearly not going to beat the 3 million that she won over and above Trump. So it's kind of a sad reality that Trump's still dealing with this when he should be focusing on the country. I mean, it's not really something you need to focus on. It's whether the election was accurate or not when we know it was. And even Jill Stein's analysis of the Wisconsin votes proved that, Trump won and fair and square the Electoral College vote. So the only thing we can do is assume that Russia hacked the election. And Segal is now Russian. He's completely converted. So a lot of these people are, in their mind, thinking that Russia is going to defeat the New World Order. And I think that's one of the things that motivated Steven Seagal to join Russia. But the New World Order can buy anybody, including Putin. I don't think people realize the power of money. This is Jeet Kune. Yeah. It's an electric and hybrid martial art heavily influenced by the philosophy of martial artist Bruce Lee, who founded the system on July 9th, 1967. It referred to it as a non-classical, suggesting that JKD is a form of Chinese kung fu, yet without form. Unlike more traditional martial arts, Jeet Kune Do is not fixed or patterned, and is a philosophy with guiding thoughts. It was named after the concept of attacking when one's opponent is about to attack. It practices the belief in minimal movement with maximum effect, yeah. So there's a time, right, when a person's throwing a punch where he is most vulnerable. Or she, depending on if you're dealing with some real badass babe in the fighting ring. But yeah, there are people out there that are really good at this stuff. I'm so glad that you guys are at least interested. Yes, Putin is owned by Zionists, yeah. They own all the players, that's right. They just haven't taken over our country's apparatus completely. The goal of the Zionists is to just break down your freedoms, especially in America. And they're using America as the fulcrum point. In order to create a lever, they need some sort of a fulcrum point. And America is the pivot point. We're the 9/11 police force around the world. Right, the way of intercepting the fists. True.
I'll teach you all kinds of ways to fight. We even teach the cannibal style.
Wow.
I can't talk like Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson talks kind of like this.
All right. But they'd like us to just disappear. All the barriers of the countries, all the national sovereignties, that's what the New World Order wants. They want no one to have a nation left. They want to replace all the nations with regions where they have absolute and total control at the top. We know one thing, and that,
hey, it's me, Awesome Carl.
No, that's not Awesome Carl's voice. It's slightly different. We know one thing, and that is that the Russian government has a particular play in this. They're the opposition. When somebody creates controlled opposition in order to create a war where they can profit from both sides, like they've done for centuries, the Rothschilds are classic for this, they're going to want to control both sides of the war and finance both sides. And the net effect is people dying. You see, they could do it one of different ways. They can create earthquakes with HAARP. They can manipulate the ionosphere and then alter it with the use of HAARP and tools that can create earthquakes, which have definitely been developed. And this technology is very real. High-frequency active aurora research project was developed in the late 80s and then went on to be replicated across the globe. Now there's underground installations and even underwater installations emitting phased array radar. And this phased array radar can manipulate the atmosphere and ultimately create earthquakes and hurricanes and tornadoes. So they can kill people off that way. But the most efficient way of killing people is to start wars. So have you hate each other. So if Russia could be the enemy of America, Trump will make that happen. So a lot of you Trump supporters really believe that Trump's going to make peace with Putin. Well, how come Putin canceled their meeting with Reykjavik already? It's months away. How come, if you're so into Russian engagement? Trump will not pull support for rebel troops in Syria, which is really all that Putin wants right now. He won't do it. And the reason why he doesn't want to do it, because there's probably sex tapes out on him. And we know the CIA knows it, the FBI knows it. There's a 35-page manifesto that was created describing possible sex tapes that could very well derail or be blackmailing Trump in this period of time he's president. Yeah, so this could all be used against him. That's the reality. He's bailed Dave. He's Putin his pants. It's kind of cute. Bill Cosby's, he's pulled out of the 17 different cases pretty quickly. They've got tons of money. They can fight this off. If Donald Trump believes that he has the power of the U.S. military to threaten like Russian mobsters, if, say, Russian mobsters have these sex tapes on him and they say, Mr. Trump, you must tell us what are you going to do for us now that we have your sex tape? Trump would probably react two ways. He'd either say, appease them and negotiate with terrorists or Russian mobsters and say, well, what can I do for you? And how can I? But he doesn't think that way. He's always thinking of his advantage. So he's thinking, well, he wants to sell property. He wants to make money on the Russian connection. So he'll probably continue to foster that relationship, maybe bring in condo money into Florida, but at the same time always hold that one carrot above the Russia and say, I'm not going to pull the rebel support until you give me the sex tapes. You're not going to have the... So if he involved in that, he could even start a war in Syria, bring in troops, saying he's going to attack ISIS in Syria, something like that. That gets him to the next step. And then using the power of America to threaten Putin back or the Russian mobsters back to try to get them to send him the hard copy of the sex tapes. Now, they are not going to reveal the sex tapes because it's their ace in the hole right now. So they're going to use this to blackmail him in a very important way. We don't know what way, though. Now, that's the big question. Now that you've allowed a man to become president who's a national security risk because of his greed, you now have to wonder what's going to happen if there is truly a sex tape that could pretty much blow the lid off this whole thing. I don't know what the sex tape is. There was talk on 4chan that it was some urination tape. I don't believe that. All I can tell you is the CIA and the FBI do believe that Russia hacked the election and there are tapes. And they have information. Putin's denied having it. Of course, if he had it, would he tell you? Of course not. He would have spent a lot of money to acquire it, and they want to use it. They don't want to admit that they have it. A UFO hit by lightning. France. Video analysis. 1 minute and 1:46. Let's see if this is true or not. This is interesting. Replay at 0.75 speed. Created some smoke. Could have been any plane. 0.5 speed, okay. Really? Yeah, it did stay on its trajectory, going sideways. Alright. That could happen to anything. Lightning impact. Horizontal trajectory after impact. No, No, a bird wouldn't do this, but a plane could do that. Propulsion down. UFO crash. I don't know. That's a stretch. All right. What do you think? Comment below. I think it's just a plane. Yeah, a plane would do just that. You've seen Men in Black in real life? You've actually seen Men in Black? Like, for real? I saw Men in Black one day. I met a man who... I've never met anybody like this before. Hey, Amanda. You think it's a plane too, Amanda? Yeah. For sure. Yeah, I met a guy in 1988 at a place I was working. He came into a store I was working at. It was an antique store I was working at. And he told me that he was Martian. He flat out said, "Have you ever met a Martian before?" I said, "No." He said, "Well, I'm a Martian." And he just started this conversation with me. And it was the strangest, weirdest conversation because I'm going to get the mic over here because we're no longer over there. He actually, can we do dinner? No, we can't. And I thought, how strange. He was dressed to the T. I mean, he was like an Armani suit, top of the line. Looked like a male model. But his face was kind of like, almost like a prefabricated mannequin. Yeah, it was like a mannequin. I'm not kidding. Yeah, very strange stuff. And it turned out that I saw him a little later that day at a local market that happened to have a bar in it. And I hardly ever went in there. I just had a feeling to walk in there. I just had a real weird compulsion to walk into this bar. And I looked across the bar and across the market, because there was a market around a bar. And it might even still be there. I don't know. It's in Santa Monica. But it was so strange. I looked at him. And as I looked at him, he disappeared. And he completely disappeared. Yeah, I can't even explain it. He like walked into an empty space. I don't know. I wasn't doing drugs, no. David, want to do dinner with David? Watch his cooking show on Thursday. There you go. Thank you, Amanda T. Yeah, I do a cooking show every Thursday and upload it to my website. I'll give you guys a link. We did lentil soup, $6 for 12 servings, and we're eating that this week here at our house. It's pretty cool. So check that out. About 45 minutes these cooking shows are. No, I wasn't doing any drugs. It was just the weirdest thing. He just disappeared. Yeah. So I've got a picture of a couple men in black I want to show you.
Real aliens caught on tape. You are about to enter another dimension. A dimension not only of sight and sound, but of mind. A journey into a wondrous land of imagination. Next stop, the Twilight Zone.
You're traveling through an incredible dimension. Hold on just a second. Let me see if I can cue this up for you. I'm looking for the Men in Black. Spacecraft are good. There they are.
Attached to their hat, like it wasn't, and they were. I'm sorry, he's actually the exact.
And pull over police.
Okay, here we go.
This convoy up here. Hey, we gonna cancel this for a minute. We have to because the fucking police is behind me. Real close.
Open your mind.
Okay, check this out.
Men that were here, and they kind of freaked everybody out, and they were asking questions about you. And of course, now I'm getting a little bit nervous, and I'm like, what are you talking about? And he said, well, he goes, I don't know how to describe them except for extremely odd looking. They were the exact same height. They were wearing the exact same clothes, and they had the exact same faces, like they were twins. And he said they were wearing black suits, black trench coats. They were wearing like the old-fashioned Federo hats. They had extremely pale skin. And he said they came in and they asked for you. And I said, I'm sorry, he's actually not working today. And it seemed like they didn't believe me, so they started to walk around the hotel, and shortly after they went to the tour desk. But he goes, they freaked me out, and I really wanted to tell you that there are these weird guys in here looking for you. So, of course, now I'm a little bit skeptical and I'm a little bit freaked out all at the same time. So the first thing I do is I run into my security office and I rewound the cameras. And sure enough, here comes two gentlemen through the front door looking exactly how he described. Then
the guy that approached me was identical to these guys. He was dressed in black and he looked like a mannequin. I'm not kidding. He wasn't wearing a hat, though.
Next day, I was talking with my tour desk, and one of them asked to talk to me. She came in my office, the same as my bellman, and she said, I heard that you heard that there were some men looking for you. And she said, they asked a few questions about you, and they said strange things that I didn't understand. And they were talking about governments and conspiracies, and none of it made any sense to me. But she goes, they were very scary. She said they had no eyebrows, no eyelashes, nothing. Their hair looked like they had a wig on, like it was attached to their hat, like it wasn't even real. And she said, and the scariest thing, their eyes were so big and so blue that they almost hypnotized me a little bit. And she goes, and you're going to think I'm crazy when I tell you this, but I swear they knew what I was thinking. And she started to cry, and she said one more thing before she left. She said, these men, they didn't blink. Not once did I see them blink.
That which we are most afraid of is what thrills us the most.
This shit here, what is going on?
Open your mind. Open your mind.
All right, so we'll play that later tonight. The real aliens caught on tape, best evidence warning. I got some good stuff. It really does show spacecrafts being carried through streets. Weird stuff you just wouldn't expect anywhere. He will not divide us is apparently reaching the end of the road here. What did the Trump people come in there and try to divide them?
Bless our beautiful country. God bless every person.
Here we are again. Story of Patriots, story in the house. Big Bird de Blasio. What's up with him, bro? Not even hooking up the Blasio on. Lock the Blasio up.
I think we got some mafia guys possibly standing here. You know, I can't say for sure, but I mean, you know, they kind of look like a bunch of hard-nosed guys, you know, doing a little muscle action. Muscling some people around. We'll be playing that tonight in our show. Yeah. You bet. You bet. We'll be playing it for sure, yeah. I'm adding it to the mix. It's in the new 2 category. Okay. Dave, you have a long life ahead of you. Aren't you worried all this nonsense and screw your judgment make you lose touch of reality? Actually, so far I've been able to kind of touch down on a kind of a very simple formula for figuring all of these problems out. Yeah, it's really quite simple. The simple fact that money has contaminated politics over the years has created kind of a monarchy, and they're trying to reissue kind of a new monarchy. So they rebranded it and called it the New World Order. It's really not something that's going to survive because everyone knows that every time greed gets together and tries to control something, it fragments. And the rival powers within the Illuminati are currently at war with each other. And that's why there can't be a new world order. There has to be an expansion of the nation-state model with more communication between the countries. And I predicted this is going to happen eventually. The New World Order will die on the vine. They're not going to be able to implement this plan because it's flawed at its very core. It's based on a group psychosis that money is divinely given and power is divinely given, and they actually believe in Satan controlling their destiny. And I know that sounds really, really weird, but I've come to the conclusion that the people at the very top of the pyramid are Satanists, Luciferians. They're already embedded in the UN. There's a group called the Lucis Trust Fund that has a roster of control over the UN operations. Roster level control means they make bookings, magazines, publications, they set up dates and account. Basically, these people are Luciferians running the UN. So at the very top of this mess is a very sick group of people that are Satanists, and they'll do the most horrible, heinous things to maintain their power. For instance, what does everybody want? I think everyone, it's safe to say, wants immortality. It's one of the most demanded things in the world. I mean, that's why the makeup industry and the anti-aging industry is so popular. People are literally buying products for a big price just to stay young. So what do these people do? They offer the ultra-rich the key to immortality. And it's sick. It's satanic. They actually believe that by eating children, they'll have immortality. It's just the most bizarre thing ever. But that's what's going on. And that's the sickest thing I have to tell you tonight. That's why we have to investigate Pizzagate. Because these are the scummiest people. Now, I'm not saying all the elitists are like this, but the ones that really believe this use that as power over politicians. And I never thought I'd ever be saying people are eating children. I can't believe it. Stopping Trump at this point needs exposing the Jeffrey Epstein connection and the fact that he's in bed with Russia. If we can't do that from the legal standpoint of the Justice Department because he's hijacked it, then Congress, it's up to them. So, when Jeff Sessions just said, the new Attorney General just said that legalization is in the hands of Congress, stopping Trump is in the hands of Congress. We're putting our future of this country is in the hand of the Congress, which is doing nothing. They can't even overturn Obamacare. So we've got a serious disconnect going on here. That's why our country isn't stopping a man who continually says that he won the popular vote when he didn't. And he's lingering in that world of having to be right all the time, never accepting being wrong, never admitting his wrongs. It's a serious human flaw when people can't admit their wrongs. And this is the biggest problem I think our country's facing. Chico. Listen, Alan Godfrey had a UFO encounter. No, really? There have been people with real UFO encounters, no kidding. Oh yeah, look at Betsy. MJS, the campaign's been going on for 8 years and it continues every night. You didn't tune in? Good evening, Jeff. Jeff Boston, everybody. We need to stop Trump, but the fact is he has control over our government now that you've allowed him to become president even though he didn't deserve it. He cheated. He had Russia's help. He stole my ideas to get elected. I mean, that's classic lying, cheating, and it's just wrong. We've allowed it. So here we are. And anytime somebody questions him, he attacks the messenger. He attacks CNN. He doesn't like CNN now. A journalistic effort by CNN to expose information is now being shut down. The entire thing, he says, is bogus. It's fake news, he says.
Stop it, stop it. And I say, stop it, stop it, stop it. And I'll say it right to the camera, stop it, stop it, stop, stop, stop. And I say, stop, and I say, stop it, stop, 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 stop it, stop it, stop it. I will say this, and I'll say it right to the camera, stop it. Right to the camera, stop it, stop it, stop it, stop, stop, stop it, stop it.
So what do we have, a reptilian as a president? I mean, seriously. Look, I don't like everything CNN says. How can one human being so orange? Good point. You're going to get rid of the VIP this month? Yeah, Amanda. By the way, Amanda, we found out that Mark has been buying a $55,000 Rolex for his dad, a new truck for his dad. I understand he just bought a brand new 28-foot boat. He's in a new office structure. I understand he paid for a relative's 38-foot swimming pool. Yeah. Seriously. How do you think he got all that money? You know all about it. Well, good for you. Thank you for coming in at least. Yeah, I don't understand why he's censoring us and getting away with it. It's illegal, for one, to stifle free speech and to treat me differently. It's fair trade practices are being violated. John Hurt passed away at the age of 77. Yeah. Thanks for knowing about it, though, Amanda. Appreciate it. Jeff, really, come on. You know, you're starting your own small business. Yeah, you shouldn't afford VIP anyway. If you have VIP money, nobody's making any money on VIP anyway. This isn't where Mark is making his money. He's making his money from some other secret source, censoring our show. We know for a fact now that 200 million people are watching our show. And we've had numerous people confirming this. When I say we, as in people who agree with me. Sarah is still catching up. Yeah, she's just really out there. Believe me, he's making money elsewhere from a very sinister tactic of censoring our show. He's limited our number of viewers to a maximum of 100. Yeah, we have proof of 200 million. The Nielsen guy came in. That's just a small part of the proof. They're considering a proposal. They're seeing so much action from America's Third Party that they're probably going to try to... That's why I haven't officially decided I'm going to run for president yet. I want to run, but I haven't signed the papers at the FEC. What I'm trying to do is get everything in order. Maybe I could, make this a mainstream media show by 2017, 2018, and we can actually build this party. What a concept. Yeah. And I don't mind donating a tremendous amount of that money to that effort. But I cannot take any money when I'm an official candidate, technically. And I can take private funds for speaking engagements like Clinton did. But I really don't want to do that. We want to actually turn this show, keep the show free for everybody, but turn it into something that, would be bigger in mainstream media in America. Because we've really been hosed for the past 8 years. It says 77 viewers all the time. He kept it. He dials in the number of viewers and he keeps it at that number. He's purposely kept the numbers down in our chat room. And even you feel ignored. Well, I would like to see actual proof of the UHF rating system myself. So when we find that, maybe we can give that to Sarah and she'll believe it. And look at Guest 230. There's your proof right there. There's anecdotal proof here. 230 just came into the chat room and he says, Dave, I finally got in. Twitch made the mistake of banning me. Yeah. Well, I was in their IRL section in real life and they banned me. I have over 200 million viewers, Amanda, on UHF. 10,000 viewers on Twitch isn't going to make a big difference here. I got to tell you, Twitch started blocking IPs of people that came into my show. I had numerous people saying, I can't get in your Twitch show. And then I started getting angry and I started saying, some of you people in Twitch are so, they want me to be watching their chat all the time when I'm watching this chat. No, seriously, I'm just disputing the fact that Twitch, then they banned us. And then we appealed the ban and we got unbanned. But I read their TOS rules and it's like they're so politically correct, they won't allow anyone to even say they're not gay. They'll claim that that's homophobia. If you were to come in and say, David, you're gay, and I'd say, hey, will you stop sexually harassing me? Oh, now you sound like a homophobe, Dave. They could report me as being homophobic, and they would use that as a TOS violation. I read their TOS rules at Twitch. They're out of this world. They're in a liberal land. I've never seen something more of a violation of the freedom of speech. So when Twitch writes new TOS rules that doesn't violate free speech, then I might broadcast over there. But I'm not wasting my time with Twitch. It was very, very difficult. And plus, in case you didn't know, those chat rooms time out. If you start a show and you don't have enough viewers chatting, they just time out. It's not like they leave an open chat room for you. And we noticed this back about 3 years ago when Twitch started, that effort. David, I don't know what you're getting at, but I'm reporting just to be on the safe side. Well, you're reporting anything you want. Just so you know, Mall Cop, reporting about our show is possibly dangerous to your career. I hope you realize that you better clear this with your overseer. I'm just telling you the mechanism at work here. They will fire everybody that interviews me. They've already fired 2 women that came to my door and gave me a full-on interview with Beta SP cameras, and I put 40 minutes of live video out there that they dumped in the garbage bin. The program directors get word from above and they shut it down. I know. Well, thank you. But no, seriously, you can. That's what a reporter just said. David, I would love to do an interview with you, but I could lose my job and maybe even die. I have to remain at a place where people are at and know where to get me. And that's where they have me by the short hairs. I would love to go to another network, but let me explain the mechanism. Thank you. You're going to interview? Amanda, I hope you also realize that, Lee Stoll said she never even met me. She denied even meeting me. And I actually gave her a 20-minute interview in front of my house. No, it's really happening. Look, many of you people just don't understand that your country that you live in says it's free and democratic is as controlled as the national Chinese overseeing media. Just as controlled. Metacritic Meta-Informatics reports 3 million viewers in Croatia alone. So there's Metacritic Meta-Informatics. Yeah, that's serious. Metacritic Meta-Informatics has information. So maybe some of you might want to check that out. We have confirmation from all the people that come in here from various parts of the world that we are being seen. And what I did back in 2008, when I recognized that this method of control was out there, I raised the BS flag. And I said, this is BS. And I came up with an incredible method of altering their trajectory of their censorship. And I did the math on this. I analyzed the performance and what it would cost me to do this. Nothing. Some vegetable Marmite I smeared on my face. And I started my Baroque Insane Obamas video. Now, at first, they shut it off YouTube, and they actually warned me in 2010. I did this in 2008, but they warned me in 2010 that if I put any more on there, because somebody said, you got to put it up there again. Because I'd pulled it because I had so many concerns about people looking at it negatively. All I was doing was impersonating Barack Obama in a horrible way, talking about him satirically, because he really is kind of a waste of space. And I was able to actually implant the seed of the thorn, if you will, in the side of censorship. And this is kind of an amazing event because Japan picked it up. I had one of these videos knocked off YouTube, and I pulled the other video. I said, I'm not going to hassle with them suing me or taking down my account, which I was working on at the time. So I just pulled both videos, but somebody copied it. And then somebody put it on a Blu-ray disc. And voila. They copied the 3.5-minute video over and over again, and it became kind of a dance club hit in Japan. And then people in Japan have really, really liked our show. We've got about 10 million viewers in Japan nightly. And I think it's because of this blackface video that I did that seeded the word of mouth, and then it became obvious that I'm being censored, and then now they say this is the blackface guy who's being censored in America, who's trying to create a third party. If you can say it in one sentence, that people can convey it. It's a dance club hit in Japan, yeah. I can talk for years without a teleprompter, and I do this nightly, so I am prepared to be the teleprompter-free president who can actually communicate on a daily basis without reflecting on everything I say with speechwriters, like Barack Obama did. Barack Obama was too little too late. Everything he did was kind of like damage control for something he said or didn't say. And he kind of got to the point where he didn't say anything. Trump will probably get to that point where he'll kind of pull back from Twitter. They've probably got people, psychologists, handling him right now, trying to get him to calm down. Oh, the impersonation was hilarious? Thank you, Amanda. They have a statue of me in China? Are you serious? Oh, you're making that up, right? Blauschwert, it's not as offensive as being lied to by a bunch of scumbags, global elitists. This doesn't, I've never had a black person say that that's offensive. It's usually the Jewish guys with white guilt that find it offensive. Frankly, there are people that have done whiteface. Snoop Doggy Dogg has done whiteface, and they don't call him racist. We're way beyond that, man. I mean, racism is the way cops are treating black people in the city of Chicago. I mean, they're profiling blacks, and they're treating them like... we've got a nightmare in Chicago. We really do. Trump is fanning the flame of federal action. He's starting to think about sending in National Guards to stem the flow of violence in Chicago. The thing is, I'll take the heat for doing Broken St. Obama's simply because I had been censored. And I knew that, hey, if I have to break through the ice, it's going to be something extraordinary. Now, I've got an entire blackface video out there if you want to check it out. Blackface 2. The original videos have been pulled. No one has a copy of one of the videos I made. I've got an absolute only copy of it. And the other video has been duplicated all over the world. So, youtube.com/David John Sponheim. You can find out more, especially my cooking shows. We've got an endless stream of low-budget cooking shows out. We do this every Thursday. You can go in and find out how to cook for less money than you've ever imagined. So there I am. The fiscal hot tub is your favorite, really, Amanda? That's funny. Thank you. The day people started counting views is the day that their lives finally mattered. Well, if I counted my views on YouTube, those have been locked up since 2011. We have very few views. We've got another problem. We've got our hit counter is one thing, the hit counter lock. The number of subscribers has remained the same for 6 years. It's impossible. So that's proof that I'm being censored. Same with the number of followers on Twitter. Every time somebody wants to follow me, it doesn't register on the number of followers. I believe that the government has purchased and owns all these social networks. And when you think about it, if our country can print up money randomly, with the fractional reserve banking system and the Fed just printing up money whenever they want, they could buy anybody. They could easily have started Google, and it turns out they did. They started Google. Our government did. That's right. In-Q-Tel Corporation, run by DARPA, owns a seriously large number of shares of Google and Facebook. I speak the truth. Well, the only thing wrong with the fractional reserve banking system, and I said was wrong, thank you for being the devil's advocate. I've always wanted to end the Fed, but you have to understand, the Fed was created to expand credit. Well, they did their job, and now it's failed. They can no longer do anything other than slowly raise interest rates, and even that triggers a backlash in our economy. So I'm arguing that we can end the Fed and bring our troops home. It's a double support. It's actually a win-win because we save money on war, we protect our border, and we begin to end the Federal Reserve because they've obviously extended their credit too far. So what we have to do is create an infrastructure bank to offset this. And this will also come with a new tax code, a flat tax, and it will limit the amount of interest that anybody's paying on, say, student loans. We'll use the infrastructure bank to replace the Federal Reserve, and we'll buy up your student loans, and we'll charge you all 2%, as opposed to variable rate, APR, or whatever you're getting charged right now. We need to get control of this because right now you're paying your student loans back, and they're not even going toward the principal. Barely any of the money is going toward the principal. That's why you're always in debt. A flat tax for everybody. We're proposing a 10% tax, which also includes a fair tax as well, 10% on sales items, non-food items. Anything we can do that helps us save money. Flavor Flav? No. Orange is the new racist. Wow. Yeah, the Fed was created to take power away from the Treasury. We know that. Yeah, but I said what the Fed was doing at that time was predictably what they would do inevitably, which is to run out of credit. So we've run out of credit. So this idea of an infrastructure bank is essential. I have the infrastructure bank at 2% loans. Donald Trump is now, he hasn't mentioned the word infrastructure bank yet, but he is talking about the government loaning at 3%. So he's copying my idea. But Infrastructure Bank offers 2% loans to U.S. businesses hiring U.S. citizens at a living wage. That would replace the Federal Reserve. Infrastructure Bank, okay? All right. Yeah. And I would also suggest that flat tax of 10%, which I think would help restructure the country's finances and eliminate loopholes, tax loopholes, and tax deductions, which corporations have been making a huge furtive ground using lobbyists to control legislators to try to give them a kickback. So that's the ground that the lobbyists use as the tax deductions and tax credits. It completely goes away with a flat tax. And the flat tax would not kick in on anything under $100,000. So 10% on over $100,000 income. And this would apply to everybody, corporations, nonprofits, and even churches and individuals. So anybody who makes less than $100,000 won't pay any taxes at all in this plan. So you'll be able to prosper at under $100,000. You realize how much progress you can make economically? You will make tons of headway as a family, getting ahead of your debt. You know, I don't know what the Sponheim family did after 1100 AD. I cannot honestly say whether any of them were, even in Germany at the time, involved in anything involved with Hitler. I have no idea, because my family left the castle Sponheim at 1100 AD. We decided to check out. We weren't happy with the digs. So the other part of the family stayed to manage the castle, from what I understand. Castle Sponheim, yes. Here is the Castle Sponheim, if you haven't seen it. I've got a tour for you. I believe everything I'm saying because it's not BS, okay? How many people can show you a picture of a castle? Not many people, can you? Well, here's the Coral Castle. Mystery of the Coral Castle, a very interesting story. Find out about it from this man while I talk to you about the real castle, Sponheim Castle.
My name is Joe Bullard. I've spent the last 20 years researching Ed's Coral Castle in Homestead, Florida. After 20 years, I wrote the novel called Waiting for Agnes. It's inspired by the true story of Coral Castle. The mystery of Coral Castle begins when Ed was born in Riga, Latvia in 1887. Ed was sickly as a child, and his grandfather took this time to start training him as a stonemason. And when he was sick in his childhood, Ed never went out that much and played with other children. When he was 26 years old, he met a 16-year-old girl named Agnes Scuffs, and Ed had never dated that much, and he just fell madly in love with Agnes. She fell in love with him also. They were scheduled or engaged to be married in 1912, and Agnes never really gave him a good reason, but the night before the wedding, she just simply said, "Ed, I can't marry you," and she jilted him at the altar. In 1912, Ed Leedskalnin was engaged to Agnes Scuff, his fiancée, in Latvia. She was 16 years old. He called her his Sweet 16. The night
Welcome to Castle Sponheim.
We don't know if Ed's alive or dead at this point. I don't know. So my family, my chromosomes built this. And it really is quite amazing. It's in the Rhineland above a small town of about 900 people. I've never been there, but yeah. They defended a large sector of the Rhineland from barbarians and barons coming in through. I don't know. I've never been in a castle like this. Very heavy music playing here. Ooh. I hope they don't monetize this. You know, no, the Sponheims didn't kill Vlad the Impaler. My other family did, on my mother's side. My mother's side. Wachovia. Transylvania. They finally seized him. Okay, yeah, that's the castle. Nothing more to talk about. This is where they perform exams on people, really? Yeah, apparently there's a top to the castle. It's probably a great view up there. So I really don't know if there's anybody from my family that went on to become German soldiers. I really don't know. But they moved to Norway, far over the hill there. And in the distance, way back here is Norway, in the northern latitudes. And yeah, we moved out there and voila. Here we are today. From Norway to here. So from 1100 to 1860, my family lived for 760 years in Norway. Yes, they did conquer a lot of the shores of Norway, and many of the Norwegian women became, you know, vulnerable to the manhood of my family line. So I've got a lot of Norwegian family members as well. So German, Norwegian, and English on my mother's side, and Romanian. So that's the background that I come from. I have a lot of knowledge of my history. But, yeah.
The stone, and he had no tools. All his tools came from a junkyard. Now this stone is so perfectly balanced that it'll move with a gentle push.
Look at that.
In 1986, the weight, 9 tons of this stone, crushed the wheel bearings. So Coral Castle called the University of Florida. They sent down an engineering team to see if they could fix it. What happened was this. They called in a construction crew. They brought in a 50-ton crane. They lifted this 9-ton gate up. Well, when they did, at the bottom, they found that Ed had mounted this 9-ton stone on a smaller pie-shaped piece of stone. They could not understand how the pie-shaped piece of stone supported the 9 tons. So they sent it to the geology department at the University of Florida. The University of Florida Geology Department studied the stone, sent it back to Coral Castle here in Homestead, Florida, and they said, hey, this is not a meteorite, but the origin of this stone cannot be determined. The materials are not of this earth.
Now, I will tell you that is probably the reason why that stone was levitated by Ed. And Ed had the ability to levitate and possibly use worldly forces that only the Egyptians knew for sure. So what do you think of this video, huh? Pretty cool, huh? Yeah, I know. Well, you know, people like me exist. I'm not the only one who looks like this, apparently. Somebody else does. It looked like Morton Downey Jr., I know. Okay, so you have been to the castle, and you've seen beyond. You've seen where we went beyond the castle. And then we went from Norway across the ocean to way over here, which is America. And the 1860s, the Sponheim family arrived and went through Galveston, Texas, and went on up to Minnesota and North Dakota. And my great-great-grandfather was a very, very wealthy landowner. One of the wealthiest landowners in North Dakota. I, however, did not inherit a stitch of that money because, yeah, Grand Forks, exactly. My family, my great-grandfather ended up being the youngest in the family, and he was cheated out of everything that he ever inherited. And it's the weirdest story. I ended up meeting a third cousin of mine from the other side of the family, and he sent me all this legal data from 1900s, early 1900s, claiming that he had rights to the property. It was the weirdest thing. I couldn't believe it. It's like, I'm not trying to take your money, man. I just wanted to meet him. And he actually acted like my family had done something wrong when we were cheated out of every single dollar in that hectare of property, thousands of acres that my great-great-grandfather had. So isn't that interesting? Yeah. That's the story of the Sponheim family on my side. Yeah. It was a poker game, and they got their youngest brother really drunk, and they basically dumped everything that he had into a stupid poker game and got the guy drunk, and he lost everything. A hectare of property was a lot of property, yeah. Well, the castle is a story that I think, is really amazing. The story is really interesting. The Sponheim family itself dates back to the word spawn, and it's in German it means wood chip. And spawn is a term that developed into the word spoon. Thank you. I know. Don't you just love this hairstyle? Thank you. Yeah, so the word spoon, which is my namesake, Sponheim, some people pronounce it Spoonheim, means home of the wood chip. Well, the wood chip story dates back to the 600 AD. 600 AD, my great-great-great-great-great-great-great-grandfather was fighting in the Ottoman Empire in wars and battles, and he had found a beautiful woman, kind of like that guy Ed at the Coral Castle, and he wanted to come back with a dowry of some sort or something that would win her over. And in order to show his worth to this woman he loved, he crossed the oceans and managed to get to Jerusalem and bought a piece of the cross that Jesus was crucified on. He actually had a piece of the cross. He'd actually acquired it. And it's a great story. And then he brought it back in the boat, but there was terrible wars going on in the ocean, and he didn't make it back without capsizing. The boat capsizes. This rare object gets lost in the ocean, and he manages to somehow find his way back to shore, and eventually, like 6 months later, makes it back to the Rhineland of Germany, where he meets his fiancée. And he has some very, very bad news. He said, I lost it. I lost this amazing piece that I was going to, for the past 5 years. It took him 5 years to get this piece. And he said, I lost it. And she said, but no, you didn't. She said, it has arrived. Someone brought it to them. Someone brought it to them. It arrived. Somebody had couriered it to her. The name of her address was on it. The Castle Sponheim was formed. And then they were married, and then the whole story emanates from that. Rectal exam, what are you posting, man? Seriously. Are you like... Now that's a castle. Wow. That is one hell of a castle. Look at that. Classic. That looks like an English castle. It's the Rotterdam Castle. Wow. Look at that. You can see how protected they were with a moat around them. That is beautiful. Thank you. That's worth looking at. Yeah, anyways, the Sponheim Castle is in disrepair, I'm sure, but, whatever. It's still there. So we have a few more minutes to talk about politics. I don't want to bore you, so let's get to the next step. So you want to find out about your history, Amanda. Yeah, it's difficult to find, going back, Genie.com, Ancestry.com, there's a couple places. You're part Portuguese and Polish. Wow. By the way, everybody, we did get a contact from Tekwala last night. He called, so he's still around. We had concern about him He has a website, or he has a Twitter site that's hasn't been that active over the years, and he's out and about. He talked to me last night at 2:30 in the morning. He called me. All right, I thought he was gone or missing or worse. No, Amanda's a great co-host of her own. She has a huge show. Veritas voter fraud. Let's see.
Over the last couple days, ever since President Trump announced that he was launching a formal investigation into voter fraud, you've seen hundreds of headlines saying there's no evidence to suggest that voter fraud exists. But we've spent the last 5 years doing dozens of investigations, finding voter fraud, documenting it, and our investigations have led to resignations and laws being changed.
Cool. Well, we'll watch that tonight for sure. Great. Yeah, I'm certainly aware of voter fraud, but I think Trump is wasting his time now trying to make it seem like he won the popular vote. I mean, this guy can't accept defeat very well, even though he won. Isn't that amazing? Are you serious? It's not your show and you don't bring much to it, apparently? Wow. Well, whatever you do, yeah, start a cooking show. That sounds like fun. Amanda, there's some really interesting women online that are they're putting, all kinds of stuff out there on YouTube to make money too. For sure. Oh, you're going to start with Gordon Ramsay in February and we'll go from there? Wow. I did not know that Gordon Ramsay was going to offer a culinary class. Trump did win the popular vote if you take away California Mexicans. Oh, no, I disagree. No. See, that's how demented you Trump people are. You won the Electoral College vote with Russia's help, and you still want everyone to think that you won the popular vote, too. Wow. You people have a lot of problems. You're just like Trump. You have an ego problem. Yeah, I'm sure it is the fluoride. And then who killed Monica Peterson? And day 96 now, Eric Braverman missing. Dynacorp, Haiti.
Day 96.
George Webb. He talks about this stuff tonight.
You've been following the series. We started out looking at the Clinton Foundation and how they spent money in Haiti. And that kind of led to a whole bunch of paramilitary activities that we saw in toppling and taking control of Libya and Syria, as well as some police activities that were questionable, like organized.
This guy's got a really big screen. He's put it all together, and he's putting together kind of a montage of all these different factors. Pizzagate being part of it. Haiti, human trafficking being another part. George Webb is a really good guy if you want to follow him on Alternative News. WEBB. We'll add that to our mix tonight for our show. And people like to watch this in the evenings because they don't get a lot of internet activity, and what we are is kind of a hub of links, thanks to the link providers like Scissorfight and many others. No, Russia had everything to do with Trump winning. In fact, the FBI and CIA have both confirmed that Russia hacked the election. Even Donald Trump impishly said, well, I guess they hacked the election. Yeah, but he won't admit it's for his benefit. Boy, you keep coming back. You're like a virus, buddy. No, I'm not jealous of his screen. I have a 23-inch touch screen right in front of me. I can do that too. Isn't it amazing? I have a touch screen. So yeah. And Barbara Hale died. John Hurt died. Who else is going to die? They say they die in threes. Somebody else died recently. Forget who, 92. So many people are dying. Over 150 stars are dead. That's decent. Yeah, we got 2 monitors, and I got a laptop over here. When I thought I was going to have a conversation in my in my show, but apparently Discord doesn't work. We're going to have to dump Discord and take out Curse or something. Yes, it is a staff of Moses. Let me show it to you. Not many people possess heirlooms as old as this, but I don't mind showing you the staff of Moses. Thank you. It's very old. It's ancient, in fact. But I have it here in case you want to access it. If the sheep want to come in, I will guide them to the source of water. No, all my ties are incredibly gifted to me. This jacket costs $39, and it's normally it's amazing. You know, I try to economize on my clothing. No, it's just for hooking people in who are wayward sheep out there in the pasture. Bring them on in. Wow, 2 more minutes and this is it. This is it. Make no mistake about it. We have done a heck of a job. How this farmer built her own internet broadband 35 times faster than average. Wow. Phosbites. Here's Chris Condor at work. Christine Condor, who calls herself a farmer's wife, has created a local super-fast broadband network named B4RN, Barn. It's 35 times faster than the average UK internet connection speed. It claims to have laid 2,000 miles fiber cable and became an internet pioneer for 2,300 members of her rural community. Look at her. That's amazing. She just connected it all for everybody, and she's laying it all the lines, and boy, she's a go-getter. Her speed is 35 times the 28 or 29 megabyte per average download in the UK. Wow. Well, they've got technology now where they've got Li-Fi technology where they send the signals out through digital light spectrums. It's real pleather, yes. This is a pleather jacket I got at Bass Outlet. Normally it's like a $200 jacket. I got it for $39.99. $39.99. Yeah, it's a good deal. I was very happy a couple of years ago I got that for Christmas. For only $39.99, I'll make any jacket. Okay, Pizzagate is real, and kids are getting kidnapped for their organs. This Chinese story. Really. No kidding. See, this sex ring in D.C. and Hollywood goes all over the world. It is an international sex ring, and it's a human trafficking sex ring. Let's watch this. Actually, this is the end of our show, so I'm going to say sayonara for now. We'll be back tomorrow for Anti-War Rally. Starts at 5 p.m. Saturday. And in the meantime, stay strong, stay positive. Try to ignore the imbecile in the White House right now, because he knows not what he does. And when we realize that this is happening, we'll come to grips with the fact that we need a third party. And many of you Trump-tards will become centrists like I am. Okay, good night, everybody. Take care.